Hello my profane friends, how are we doing today? Having a great day, I hope. Anyway, yeah, today I'm going to show you how Moloch, Moloch is in it anyway, he's part of it I suppose, how Baal, the god Baal, if you don't know who Baal is, look him up. And you can download this book anyway, but I'm going to read it to you. Remember, I'm not an orator or a professional reader, but I'm going to show you how they examine the Freemason in a lodge. Okay, it's only a short little book. Hopefully I can get through it. But I'm going to show you where Baal come into it within the lodge of a Freemason lodge. Okay. Oops, sorry, I got a bit hiccupsy again. Anyway, yeah. So let's get started. It's a bit of an interesting roundup. This will be my last video, I think, or I've got one more to do, which is another ritual that I'm going to post about. Let me just which is it'll be, oh, let me get my glasses on, which will be the amphibious chapter number 258, Mondawik, whatever the word is, we'll soon find out. The ceremony of and closing the chapter, yeah, which is very interesting. I haven't pulled that one out for a while, so that'll be interesting. So I'm going to do that one after this one. Anyway, I'll do this book in a minute. Let me just go through my normal little spiel at the beginning, because then that rounds up my last video and also ties in, you know, everything that I'll be presenting today to you, yeah. And obviously it just goes over, you know, a bit of the past videos I've done as well. Again, like I said, once you're awake to Freemasonry, it's going to be really hard to go back to sheep or sleep, you know what I mean? Because that's what they want. They want you as sheep. They want you to be asleep, because they don't, you know, I mean, let's put it this way, if Freemasonry, right, is so proliferant, or whatever the word is again, I can't pronounce it, sorry, it's proliferant in history, why aren't they learning it in schools? Because you learn about the Romans, you learn about the Normans, you learn about the Vikings. Do you see what I mean? Why aren't you learning about the history of Freemasonry, where they were involved in wars? You know, well, every war is a Masonic war, as I've told you, but you'll have to look at my other videos for that. But if they're so prevalent in history, you know, they're the great builders and all this sort of malarkey, yeah, why don't we hear anything about it? Why is it, shh, keep it quiet, shh, shh, shh? Because every great building that's ever been built, St Paul's Cathedral, Parliament, all that, has all been built by Freemasonry, yeah? Because they build your cities, they build your towns, they create your laws, yeah? And whatever education your child is getting at this precise moment comes from what Freemasons tell the people below them down the line as you go, what would be educated and what should be given and told to them. Do you know what I mean? And the more dumbed down they can make you or your children, the less likely people are going to speak out. Back in the day, you had revolt after revolt. Do you know what I mean? This, that, and the other. But they stopped all that. Do you know what I mean? And it's very hard for people to, you know, to get together, because you're isolating yourself. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day, people used, like I said, used to be, you know, you could talk over the fences to your neighbours were in and outside, you know, all that sort of like. But now that don't happen, because you put big fences up, you isolate yourself from their neighbour, if you put it that way, you know. So yeah, again, I want to just show you the honours paid by the Templars, because I got, you know, again, look, President of the United States is saluted, right? But look where he is, right at the bottom of the page, right? I'm not going to go through it again because it's already in my other videos, but that's where he is. All these top people here, you can call them Illuminati if you want, you can call them Knights Templars, you can call them Skull and Bones, you can call them Demolate, whatever you want to call them. The point of the matter is, your president is down the bottom here, which is basically our Prime Minister, do you know what I mean? And this is what it's about. It's all these top people tell all these what to do, and how the president then how to run, and he answers up to them. Same as the governors and vice presidents and the cabinet ministers, same as here, like when the House of the Parliament, they answer up to whoever, yeah? And then obviously the Grand Masters and the Masons and the High Priests, blah, 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 they all, you know, answer up to them from their towns and their cities. Do you see what I mean? So basically they're just running the towns and the cities, and it just goes up the pyramid until you get higher and higher, you know. And as long as they're comfortable in living the way they want to be, they're all right with that. Do you know what I mean? We're just the profane, you know, we get no honours basically, do you know what I mean? But that's the honour of, you know, this is the basic hierarchy of what's running the world today. Do you know what I mean? You can just say it, keep it simple. You know, I don't really talk about Illuminati, Templars, and all that, because it's all the same anyway. Do you know what I mean? Regardless, yeah. But like I said, it is all heraldry and heraldic, or whatever the word is, yeah. And like I said, so say the Illuminati run countries, yeah, and then within them countries, the army is the Freemasons, which are the infrastructure that look after the towns and cities, if you get what I mean, you see. Or and then you got the, you know, the next level down, say up to Master Mason. They're the runabout that look after the, you know, like the tax, the police, and all that sort of thing. You know, so that's what it all is, and it's just an army. You know what I mean? That designates to each other. And here you go. Look, if you can poke a royal on their chest like they're your bitch, you may be a Rothschild. Okay, so you know, it just shows you who's at the top of the league. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like I said, you just can't, you know, it's Freemasons. You know, and like I said in my last video, look, this is my clothes horse here. Look, and I can't even put the clothes on it. Obviously that's flipped. Look, if I flip it round, this is how the clothes sit. Oh, went a bit too far there. Oh bloody hell, I've gone round again. Look, right there it is. Yeah, see, that's my tops and my cabinet there in the back, and my towel there. But if you flip it, this is how, you know, they get into your house as well. I know that sounds like, oh, really paranoid or something, doesn't it? But I'm just saying, Freemasonry is everywhere. Do you know what I mean? You know, they're so sneaky with their finger. All right, it's the basic, you know, what do you call it? I mean, I could take a picture of my fan. Even the fan grill is Masonic, you know, in the way, in the shape of the, you know, as it is. But that is, you know, they are the builders, isn't they? So, but anyway, look, Mason, don't forget the circle, point within the circle, and don't forget the Masonic A. Always do the Masonic A when you're doing the letter. They don't like it on the outside of your letter. And what is this? And what does it demand? These two signs, yeah? What is this? And what does it demand? Remember, they're Masonic signs. Put them on your letters as well. You never know, you might get a result. And instead of getting a no, you may just get a yes off your Freemason you're sending it to. Do you know what I mean? But that's what that is. What is this and what does it demand? But like I said, it's one of their little hieroglyphs. You know, what's sneaky. But yeah, there's my clothes horse, and there's the square and compass, you know, on the old clothes horse. Do you know what I mean? But that's extreme, obviously. But I was just having a laugh because I mentioned, oh no, not him again. God. Jimmy Savile in the bloody white collars. Do you know what I mean? The Freemasons at his funeral. That's why he got away with a 50-year shh. Oh yeah, there's some more. Oh my God, look, there's some more Freemasons there with white collars. But that's why he got away with a 50-year shh. Because these people, you see all these Freemasons with their white collars, look. Yeah, his funeral. That's why he got away with it forever. Shh, because they're experts at it. They shush up all the time. See, here's the white collar, look. Yeah, 33 degree, and they have the aprons and the collars, you know what I mean, all the badges. And like I said, Jimmy Savile was Frank Bruno's best mate, and you can see the white collar in the frame back here, picture frame, and also the Freemason here with his white collar, okay, because someone asked about when I went on about Bruno. Remember I said he had I think it was one or two what they call mental disorders, you know. I think he had a ritual, yeah. And here's Bruno, Frank Bruno, the boxer, look, with his white collar, and this is why he got on with Jimmy Savile so well, yeah. Here he is in the Freemason Lodge with his white collar, but this is why he had a breakdown. I think he did a satanic ritual abuse and saw kids killed or something like that, and that screwed him up, and that's why he had a breakdown. But I've said about that in my last video, do you know what I mean? And here we are, three Freemasons here, yeah, and that's why he got away with it so long as well. Do you know what I mean? It's because he was a Freemason, he got let off and he stopped and all sorts, weren't he? But that's what they do, they let each other off. And here we go. But how does you know, again, this is what Freemasons do. They just promote and put anyone in positions of power, so long as you've got the right connections, the right handshake. Do you know what I mean? The funny little foot movement. or the funny wink, you can be put, and he was put in charge. Jimmy Savile was put in charge of Broadmoor. He's not even a doctor, he's a bloody DJ. How does that happen? It happens because he's a Freemason. Yeah, that's how it happens. Same as Bruno. Why would he get into to Broadmoor, the mental secure unit? Because of who he knew. Do you see what I mean? If he didn't know or have a association with Freemasonry, yeah, or because he knew the Royals and was a Freemason within the Royals, he wouldn't have got into Broadmoor. No one would. Do you know what I mean? But because they're not profane, they can get in anywhere. And this is what it's about. We don't tolerate abuse or crime. Yeah, these don't. I took this off someone's wall. I forgot whose it is now. I'll see it tonight, and I thought, oh, I love that. But we tolerate abuse and the crimes that they do against us, and nothing is ever said because they're Masonic, and they can shush stuff up all the time. Again, Jimmy Savile. Look on my forum and look for Nagasaki, but just search up Jimmy Savile, and you'll get the full story of Nagasaki. Do you know what I mean? But again, children's homes, paedophiles, satanic ritual abuse, all shushed up by Masonic Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? Again, look it up. This is why they get away with things, because look, their police are Freemasons. Each and every one of them is a Freemason. It doesn't matter what it is, yeah? And they don't work for the people anymore. They work for the crown, yeah? And that's what it's all about. Masonic Axis of Eagle, the family courts, mafia, Freemasons again. Like I said, you go up the court and you ask your Batman, the one with the cape and all that, and the magistrates. You ask how many are Freemasons, because all they're doing, right? See, Freemasons think they're gods, yeah, and they're in control, and they command control from the profane, which is you, yeah. So what they're basically doing is deeming you, like looking at you, obviously you're peasants and profane, so they're dealing and dishing out law to the profane. Do you see what I mean? That's how they see themselves, and you've got to stop this. This is why this guy here, again, look at my Hillsborough post in my forum, and again, this is why they get away with it all the time, yeah? Do you know what I mean? And this went on for like 15 years. Then people were petitioning and God knows what just to get some justice out of these Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? But you won't. Do you know what I mean? In the end, the case was thrown out anyway because a Freemason, right, years before did something wrong with the evidence. Do you know what I mean? So there's that technicality where regardless of whatever happens, do you know what I mean? You're going to be safe because this guy's done this. Do you know what I mean? So, so he sat away getting away with it for about 15 years, and then it was thrown out of court or something went down. You'll have to read it. I can't remember it off heart. But, the policeman who was a Freemason did something wrong with the evidence, and the judge done something, and then that was it. Boom, it's thrown out. No justice because it's Freemasonry. You profane don't judge Freemasons. Freemasons are a higher god to you. Do you know what I mean? A higher being or whatever. They're so egotistic, it's unreal. But just remember, right, who was in charge of the CPS when they repeatedly refused to prosecute Savile? Then if you've got people like this in charge, yeah, because they're Freemasons, and going, shh, keep it quiet, right? Because that's all they do to you in life. Shush you up, right? And it comes across your telly, your newspapers, everything all the time. Doesn't matter what you're in, they're always shushing you up. So remember that, And if these people here are Freemasons and they're your Westminster, laws, judges, or whatever the hell you want to call them, yeah, if these people here are in charge, right, they're going to shush you up every time and you're going to get no justice. Who's voting, like I said, again, who's voting for suppression orders? If it's the majority of Freemasons, because they're the ones who are doing the satanic ritual abuse and all the rest of it, of course they're going to vote, we're going to have 100-year closures on it. They ain't going to do that, are they? They don't want that, you know what I mean? Because if you keep mentioning Freemasons, oh no, they've sussed it, they don't want you waking up, they want you and they want you quiet about Freemasonry. So talk about Freemasonry, get with it, spread the news and see who's working and who's, you've got to look within your town. Like I keep saying, don't look at Boris Johnson and all them other people, they're too far. Look what's going on within your town, yeah? And if you know where to look, yeah, and you follow the right people, yeah, put some GPS on cars. Don't be averse to that neither. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll do it to you. They don't give two two tossers. They're corrupt, yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're criminals, yeah. And you've got to be as just corrupt and as criminal as them when you're following them. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to be your own detective, and that you'll get a lot of answers. You know, you'll find your cliquey little groups and what they're up to. You know. Anyway, that's another story, right? Civil disobedience is not our problem, and that in. Our problem is civil obedience, yeah? Because everyone just goes along with it, you know, what they say. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. I mean, some of you know what I'm on about here, you know, and obviously what's being put across the screen here, yeah? So I don't want to get too much into that. Our problem is that people all over the world have obeyed and the dictates of leaders, and millions have been killed because of this obedience. Right, like when they go to war, like a lodge war, that's what I'm saying. You get half the profane don't even know why they're going to war. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and they're going, what the, you know, what the hell, you know? Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it's like 12 people that start a war. Do you know what I mean? And you've got hundreds of thousands of profane people. You know what I mean? Getting killed. And the leaders of the war are not getting killed because they're all Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? So they're mostly out of the war anyway. Plus they got their, you know, their Grand Halen sign of, you know, don't shoot me, blah blah blah. You know what I've shown you in my other videos. So there you go. Anyway, our problem is that people are obedient all over the world in the face of poverty and starvation and stupidity and war and cruelty. Right now, if there was, you know, we know there's famine, you know, and there's water shortages around the world, but if there was oil, yeah, and I don't care where it is, Timbuktu, bloody wherever, if there's oil and that needed pumping, they would put lines in that. They would put pipelines in, yeah, for oil. They'll fill tankers up with oil, but they wouldn't put any water in any tankers and take that to the people that had, you know, got no water. Do you know what I mean? That because you're profane. Do you know what I mean? You're nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, that, you know, them filtered this, you know, like BBC's Children in Need, for instance, they got all the money in the bank. What do everyone do? No one says nothing because it just sits there all the time. And the only people that gets paid, if you do your research, is the people that are in charge of it, which are Freemasons, and they keep sitting on that and living off on that interest on it. Do you know what I mean? Because they want the people to be poor all the time, and we're the ones who put in, but they don't put nothing in. Go burn like that. What's that thing? What got burnt in France? Millionaires, billionaires putting money in. Do you know what I mean? But anything to do with anything else, you get nothing, because these people, yeah, not obviously not, you know, him. It's the Freemasons that are in charge, that just got to keep the profane under their jackboot, yeah. Because as long as they got you under their jackboot, yeah, then they'll forever be living in good. You know, easy life, if you know what I mean, because they've got all the money, they own all the property, they own all the businesses, yeah, and that's it, you know. And so long as they keep their jackboot on top of you, you're going to pick their vegetables, you're going to be in their supermarket. Well, they've done away with you on the supermarkets because now they're doing it tillless, isn't they? So there's not even a woman or a bloke sitting on the till no more, because they're now you're actually self-serving yourself already. So they've done you out of a job there. They did you out of a job when they done all the automatic things on cars. Do you know what I mean? So what is going on? Do you know what I mean? Soon they're going to do away with that, you know. Anyway, that people are obedient while the jails are full of petty thieves and the grand thieves are running the country. That's our problem. And that is the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, the jails are full of petty thieves. You know what I mean? The petty thieves are like doing shoplifting for drugs, you know, and all that sort of. Obviously, you got, you know, hardcore, you know, people that are, you know, criminals, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of them are just doing their thieving because they want their drugs, do you know what I mean, and whatever else. If you legalise the drugs and get, you know, boom, give them a proper place to go, get their injections or whatever they need, you won't get robbed no more. There will be no burglaries, there won't be no street robberies, do you know what I mean? All of that's cut, it's gone. You've also stopped, you know, girls going on prostitution. You'll stop, you know, mothers getting taken away from their children, you know, from their babies and getting put into care and all that. But the Freemasons want that, do you know what I mean? Because they want that disorder and that chaos, do you know what I mean? And it's also, you know, that keeps them, you know, keeps them employed while you're living in that chaos. They don't live in that chaos on their estates. They're all good. They all live in peace, do you know what I mean? You know, go out, look, go to where, you know, Freemasons hang out at the local hotel or whatever, and you'll see no fighting. You won't see nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because they live in peace and they eat good and they live good. Do you know what I mean? And they're all separate and away from all that. You know, only the people who are fighting are the profane. You know, their work and all that. These, look, this is it. This, look, and we will, look, you will own nothing and we will be happy. And they will. They'll carry on. They don't give two monkeys about you, the profane, these sort of people. None of them. You know what I mean? The profane are nothing. They're without the temple. They are not within the temple. And here's the builders, look. Brazil, no, they're all the same buildings built by the same people. Freemasonry, yeah? They're the great builders, yeah? They build your towns. They build your cities, yeah? That's what it's all about. That's the common denominator. And again, if you'd watched my last videos, you are not responsible for the programming you picked in childhood. However, as an adult, you are 100% responsible for fixing it. And the only way you're going to fix it is realise, do your own research. Don't believe what I'm saying. I'm talking, you know, I could be talking crap. Do you know what I mean? Do your own research, yeah, on Freemasonry. Who's running your town or city? Yeah, forget who runs the country, look to who runs your town and city, because once you control your town and get back your city, yeah, that city or that town ain't speaking to that main city. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, because you're not putting that, you don't have to feed up to that. Do you see what I mean? But to do that, they're going to come, and that's what, like I said, they'll line you up and they start shooting or hanging people. Do you know what I mean? You know, because you're rebelling, you know, they want the control of the country, yeah? That's why they invaded and had all them wars, you know, because we want the control. Now, when you try to take that off them, that's when they're going to come after you. And I'm going to be one of the first ones to go under their guillotine, do you know what I mean? But this is what it is. But you control, you know, we control it, but there's not enough of us that wanted to control it, because you're all happy sitting there going, yeah, that's cool, you know. Famous Knights are not Freemason wars, look. It's all the same, look, Alpha and Omega. Yeah, Omega Alpha, and I can't remember what the triple Tor cross is, but it's a T in the middle there. If I look it up, I'll get it anyway. But there's your little queen. Look, that's Mussolini, I think, or was that Bully, or whatever his bloody name is? Obviously, Adif and the old Popey there, you know. But these are the people that run, you know. And here again, look at the hand signs. I've got this off someone as well. I picked this up. I thought, oh, lovely. But again, look at the hand signs. Yeah, they're laughing at you all the time. These are the Freemasons. You know, remember this guy here on the right. Yeah, he worked with the 5 families in New York, right? Which were crime families, obviously, yeah. And I'll do another video on, you know, Trump, you know what I mean. But he was working with, you know, his towers got built by crime lords. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's who look after the elite. You know, they got a problem. They go, we need rid of him, and they just shoot him and kill. You know, gone, done. You know what I mean? And that's what they do. So long as there's no, you know, people speaking out and all that, they don't want that. It's an accident. You know, the amount of people they've had accidents to do. You know. But remember, he come from the crime lords, do you know what I mean? And he worked with them, you know. But he disassociates from that now because he's working for them. But in the background, he doesn't go near them. They're nothing to do with him. Do you see what I mean? You know, they're just all crime lords. Again, look, but without government, who would forcibly sterilise people against their will? Same again. What's going on now is your government, and your government is Freemasonry. That's Freemasonry enforcing all of this. You know, and this is what happened in here, Indiana, eugenics law, do you know what I mean? Yeah, by late 1800s. But this, again, authorities believe criminality, mental problems and pauperism were hereditary, yeah? Various laws were enacted based on this belief. In 1907, Governor Jane Franklin Hanley approved first state eugenics law, making sterilisation mandatory for certain individuals, which would be the profane, yeah? In state custody, sterilisation halted in 1909 by Governor Can you imagine that? That's what they do. They just put these laws, and now they're putting in laws that stops the profane protesting, you know what I mean, stop you gathering, you know what I mean, because they don't want that. You know, they're shutting it all down now. Yeah, the Masonic Temple, right, Norwich. The first building in the world erected by Masons exclusively for Masonry, in which all the York and Scottish Rite degrees are conferred, except the 33rd and last degree of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite. You know what I mean? Everyone go on about the 33, but there's like higher ones, like 90 degree and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? But that's higher up the thingy again. Like I said, if you do your research, you know, I don't go up to the 33. I don't care about the 33. I don't care about the 90s or whatever. You ain't getting near them, but you can get the ones that are within your town, within your city, and you need to route out the corruption within that. Do you know what I mean? And once you stop that, and they're feeding the information up to the cities or wherever, that's when you start gaining control back, you know. Anyway, that's another story. Of Norwich City, State of Connecticut, 1921. I don't even know why that's in there. I do these and I go, oh, what the hell? Oh yeah, but look, here they go. Look, see, these are the different, you know, like I said, but these are all free. See, they go, well, that ain't our chapter. That wasn't our council. It wasn't our lodge. That wasn't our commandery. You know what I mean? And then you've got lodge. These are all different lodges, okay? So the lodges I've already shown you. Obviously, I've shown you some of the chapters. Obviously, the main lodges. You've got the royal lodges. But these are all other lodges, yeah? You know, the rocks. And all of that is offspring to others. Do you see what I mean? So, you know, like I said, I haven't even shown you half the lodges that are available within your town, you know, like the Buffaloes and the thing. But all of them, like I said, it's just all Masonic. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, Shriners and all that, it's all the Masonic, yeah, all Freemasonry. There's no difference. They'll try and dispute between it, you know what I mean? Like here's from Johnny Mintz. Look, here's the army again. They don't control everything. Yeah, they don't want to control everything. They've got to let the profane have a bit of here, there and everywhere. But they just want to, but they will control the important stuff. You know, governments, police, social services, anywhere where they can, you know, get chaos and discord, they'll own it and they'll try and control it, you know. Everything Freemasons don't control everything, just the important stuff. You know what I mean? I meant stuff. You know what I mean? You check it, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what they try and own. They own everything. They try and think it. Again, look, this is where it comes through your telly, where it's programmed into you, yeah? Watch this shush. Shh, and how fast it is, yeah? Because this is what it is, and this has got nothing to do with Doctor Who. This is Doctor Who, this is. Go see my Doctor Who post. That's called Doctor Masonic Who, yeah? Because it's all about Freemasonry, yeah? And their signs. It's just TV, and the TV is there to entertain the Freemasons, yeah? Doctor Who is entertainment for pure Freemasonry, and if you know where to look, which I'll put in my forum to show you, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. But what's this Masonic shush, which is like, oh, that's on the telly, but shh, keep it quiet, yeah? And it's a subliminal message to the profane to keep quiet. Watch. I don't know if I get feedback on that. See it? I don't know whether to... Watch, here it come. There, see it? Boom, I'll do it again, slow, watch. See how quick that shush is, look? Boom. Shush. Shh. See what I mean? Shh. See? And that's what they do all the time, yeah? But, watch this. In the next one, this is the same again. This is Gillian Anderson. Watch the shush again. She's a chief inspector talking to some dude, yeah? Which is nothing to do with the programme again, but he's eaten, doing the same thing. But watch the Masonic shush for the profane, yeah? Do you see it? Look. Shh. 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 And that's what he's saying to the Freemasons. Shh. Shh. See? Shh. And that's all they do to you all the time. Shh. Do not shush, do not be quiet. When the policemen turn up on your door, you ask if they're Freemasons and if they're representing Freemasonry. Do you know what I mean? If a bailiff turn up on your door, you ask them if they're Freemasons, same as I do. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter who it is. Anyone in authority, you going into a courtroom, ask how many are Freemasons within that courtroom, yeah? And you want to start registering it, putting it down, yeah? And then see what the common denominator is, and then come to my forum, start posting it in there to how many are Freemasons. You watch their faces, they're petrified that you're waking up that they're Freemasonry, because that's what's running your country. You may see the judge there with all his hat and wig and everything, but that's a Freemason sitting there and he's judging you, the profane. Do you see what I mean? You know, look, watch this. Look, near this site, the Grand Lodge of England of English Freemasons first met in 1717, right? Now when I show you this ritual in a minute, what I'm going to read to you, you're going to see them quote way before, I think in 16 something, yeah? I can't remember, but you'll see this is 1717, okay? But on the ritual I'm now coming up with, it's way before that, okay? Now again, this is real. In the ritual, I'm now going to show you, or my next one is one of these. I can't remember, I've got so many bloody rituals. But this is the Royal Arch, right? So what I need you to do, if anyone, I've asked this before, could translate this for me, that'd be well appreciated, because it's got like signs and figures in it, and I can read some of it, but I can't read all of it. So if someone could just jump over to my forum, yeah, and translate these 3 pages for me, and obviously the top piece here. I've done it in a video before, I'm not going to go into it now, but if you can go to my forum, that means this is all done now, yeah, that piece. So we'll now just skip into here. Oh, paedophilia, Satanism, Freemasonry. Never mind, we're not into that. Yeah, if you just come to my forums and look for Royal Arch Masonic, oh, I forgot Masonic, never mind, I'll do that later. Needs translating, the pages are there for you to use in your own videos. Spread the word, do you know what I mean? But if someone could just translate and just post that in there for me, what these actual pages say, that would be well appreciated, thank you. Again, look, police, again, look, Lord Jaina, high profile Labour MP, is alleged to have committed acts of child abuse some 20 years ago, yet his arrest has been blocked. Why? Shh, because he's a Freemason. Okay, you may be saying it was a long time ago. Yes, I agree in principle, but surely if there's a reason, then Rolf Harris, William Roach, the geezer, that singer, shouldn't have been arrested either. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, look, he attended a voluntary in connection with more than 20 allegations of child abuse, yeah. Again, basically, what it is, he just got shut up, shush, because he's a politician and a Freemason. You know what I mean? Sir David, look, sir, because he's a knight. See, the ring of knights, shh, you know what I mean? Because they don't want you to know they're Freemasons. Because once they, once you start finding the common denominator, that's what they don't want. They want you to keep arguing over different things, and pointing fingers, that's this fault, that fault, this fault. Do you know what I mean? But come and see it. Paradox Media and Film Production UK.wordpress.com. Come and read it. There's some good stuff on there about Madeleine McCain, the pervert and tangled web of Walt Disney, another Freemason. Do you know what I mean? That'll give you all that, That's like 35 employees at Disney World. Again, Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that'll give you all the, the things on Walt Disney, occult porn king Walt Disney. It goes on about Madeleine McCain, the satanic ritual abuse. Now here's just something a bit what I wanted to go through. Oh no, I did that on my last video, I believe. I don't know if I did or not. I believe I did, didn't I? Yeah. That's why I went on about this little poor boy here, yeah, which was connected to Great Yarmouth, where I live. Yeah, so I'll just get a reminder on that. This little boy here, missing in 2003. But again, here's your Knights Hospitaller as a sovereign military. Remember, they are an army, military. And Order of St. John. If you look up the wars, and obviously Jerusalem of Rhodes and of Malta, and the Knights of Malta, Chevaliers of Malta, if you look up the wars they fought in, that'll give you an idea of the military or army that you'll be up against once you start poking them a bit too hard and they think we've got to put the profane down, because they will come after you, trust me. But that's there, yeah. So moving on, I just want to get through it because this is important. I'm going to show you what Baal is in a minute, because that's going to be in the ritual, okay? Freemasons are this is their power, okay? Watch this power, yeah? So again, look, if Freemasons are meeting in the Houses of Parliament, how big a threat is that to our democracy? And there he is, the main man, look. Oh, baby. Dodgy handshakes, you know what I mean? Wink, wink. But here they are, look, there's the army there, look, they're dressed as an army. Do you see, he's standing right there, and he's he's the master man, you know what I mean? And there you go, Freemason Hall at Covent Garden, London. See, they control the armies, and this is what I'm saying, they control it all. And once you start poking at, they're going to come after you, It's called the Predictable Furor. Grand Lodge of England, the ruling body for Masons, even went as far as taking a full-page advert in many newspapers protesting that these exposures of Masonic secrets were an attack on the human rights and privacy of pre-Masons. That's how friggin' fronty they are. Do you know what I mean? Look, an exposure of Masonic secrets were an attack on the human rights. Well, I'm well attacking their human rights, isn't I? Just the same as they attack my human rights every step of my life. You gang stalking, drug dealing, paedophile, nonce cases. You know, if any of you want to come forward and have a little private interview, one-to-one live with me, yeah, that'd be really lovely. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm supposed to be the one who hide, not you guys, because you're not cowards, are you? You're up there fronting, you know what I mean? So come out, don't be a coward. Come and see who's the coward. Come and front me. Come and have an interview. Come on, we'll talk about gang stalking, drug dealing, yeah, and a bit of nonsense. And we wouldn't even talk about the Freemasons and your lodges and everything else you're involved in. Anyway, that's another story. The Guardian, that two palace of Westminster Masonic lodges are active according to Central Freemasonry records. So they're right in the middle of Westminster, and like I said, so it doesn't matter who you vote. They're all both and all sides of the party. And like I said, they don't even know what the numbers are. The Welcome Lodge with about 40 members for MPs, peers and parliamentary staff, and the Grand Lodge with 45 members. These numbers are a load of crap. You know what I mean? I never ever trust anything what's been posted, by a paper anyway. They'll put whatever numbers they want, and obviously they don't really know anyway, because that's all secret, remember? Shh, no one reveals nothing. Do you know what I mean? Are both so secret. Look, see what I mean? So how do they know the numbers? Look, 40 members and 45 members. Do you know what I mean? Known as lobby correspondents. Both so secret. Even lobby reporters do not know who the members are. So them numbers are a load of rubbish. Do you know what I mean? A third lodge called Alfred Robin Lodge with 18 members, and also set up for journalists, appear to meet regularly in London too. So you're journalists, that's what I'm saying. Everything what's coming out, yeah, it doesn't matter, you look at your newspaper, that's just Freemasons, yeah, and they're telling you what they want you to know, and that is it. And the people who are telling them to say that are the Grand Masters, the Royal Masters, or the Blood Princes, if you want to call it, And like I said, they meet every blah blah, with their underlings, blah blah blah. All three lodges meet 4 times a year at Freemason Hall. Yeah, they only have to meet 4 times a year because, like I said, the other ones meet say like 6 times a year or 8 times a year. Do you know what I mean? And then the ones under that, they're the ones that then it gets more regular, within the town and city on a daily basis. But that all keeps answering up. Yeah, and obviously the bigger up the triangle you go, the less people you have to answer to. Do you see what I mean? So that, and it gets less and less, and they have to meet less and less because it's all under control by the underlings. Do you see what I mean? No, also, although MPs and peers are not obliged to declare their membership of Freemasonry, the Commons authorities say they can disclose information voluntary on the register of members and Lord's financial interest. No one currently chooses to do so. Yeah, and when they do put it to vote, which is amazing, is all the Freemasons obviously are voting no, we're not gonna, do you know what I mean? Not the profane ain't saying you will tell us who you are, because no, the vote is going to the Masons, isn't it? Because they're on both sides of all the parties. So what are they going to vote? They're going to vote no because they've been told to vote no. So how is that a fair vote when they're saying, well, we're not revealing ourselves? They're not going to reveal themselves, are they? That's that's pure simple maths and deduction. That's profane to think that they're going to vote, yeah, we'll show and tell people who we are, including in the police force or anywhere else within our towns or cities. Do you know what I mean? So they just state, no, we're not going to do it, and that's it. Because they are a law unto themselves, yeah? They don't answer to the profane. The profane answer to Freemasonry. Sorry, I got a bit of that. These revealing stories from Westminster that both political journalists and politicians are Masons follow closely on the comments of the outgoing Police Confederation of Steve White that Freemasons were blocking reforms in policing and thwarting the progress of women and officers from black and minority ethnic communities, yeah? Right? Now, I'm not going to go into blah, 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 but that is what they do. They don't want people from anything, yeah, that ain't a Freemason, because once you start getting people that go in, yeah, that's when you start getting whistleblowers, and they don't want whistleblowers. They want to be able to control that information, what gets out and what people see. Do you know what I mean? Because then, that's where it all go boom, and it all comes, because you're getting a lot of whistleblowers now, and they don't like that. They used to be able to control it. Well, they still bloody do control it anyway, don't they? Do you know what I mean? But that's what it's all about. But come and read it yourself, in the Morning Star. I don't want to go through it all, but I found that there were people who were fundamentally against any kind of change and any kind of progress, and they always happen to be Freemasons. They don't want change. Do you know why? because they own you. Yeah, they're in charge of you. Yeah, they own everything, and they want the profane to keep being below and without the temple. Yeah, they're not on the same level as you lot. Yeah, you're below them. Yeah, I'm going to show you that in a minute. Many Freemasons choose to keep their membership secret in order to avoid being discriminated against. But they should be discriminated against, because they're voting against the profane. They're your governors, they're your governors, they're your lords, they're your peers, yeah, and they know exactly what they're doing against the profane, yeah. Now here you look, most sensibly people today regard Freemasonry as a joke, an 18th century boys club with rolled up trouser leg, funny aprons and comedic handshakes. Yeah, in fact the Freemasons are still a nasty, now here we go with this word, Machiavellian group, widely secret, totally undemocratic power and influence, as they have done for centuries. See, people are telling you what they are. I've just shown you in like 9 videos, and every other video I've done, what these people are. And if you're still sitting there profane thinking they're all right, and you're not investigating them within your town and city, then you're going to forever be profane. You're always going to get screwed over by these people, and that's what will always happen. You'll never live. Everyone who's profane will live in poverty, including your children. Do you know what I mean? And these have got to be ousted out. Ousted. But anyway, nasty Machiavellian group, wildly secret, totally undemocratic power and influence, as they have done for centuries. You know what I mean? You get nothing from these people. Even today, serious criminals inhabit the same lodges as senior investigating police officers, and with a handshake they'll shut down a case. If they're being investigated, they'll say, oh, lay off a bit, and they'll lay off for a year, they'll lay off for 2 years, that don't matter. They'll pass it on to some other criminal and they take over the enterprise. So then, you know, that they can't, you know what I mean, it's changed. Then they have to take it new, and that's millions of billions of pounds on investigation gone down to Swanee because some Freemason brother has forewarned the criminal corrupt Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows it. You know, they're the biggest criminals going, you know. I know, I've got the evidence to prove it. Today there are about 250,000 Masons in England and Wales who meet in 8,000 lodges. Most include politicians, judges, military top brass, bishops, criminals and high-ranking police officers. And this is what's running your country today. Tomorrow, next week, next year, however long you want to go. Is that what you want in the next decade? All they're doing is favouritism themselves, yeah, and the profane are getting nothing and nowhere. There's no justice for a profane person. Right, less well known even in this secret world is the fact that there are nearly 5,000 women Freemasons organised into separate but just a secret network of all female lodges. They are acknowledged but not officially recognised by male Freemasonry. Okay. I'm going to get a bit into that in a minute, yeah, with the women again, because we don't want to forget the women. But I think, again, the numbers here are wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, don't trust the numbers, you know what I mean, because they're wrong, you know, because no one knows. Like I said, Freemasons don't reveal themselves or their numbers, yeah, but you can guarantee they're the most prolific, or the majority, or what is that word I was using last time? I thought that was pretty cool, but I can't remember what it was. They're the most dominant force within a town or a city. Do you know what I mean? And whoever is the dominant force within a country owns it and runs it. Yeah. And then it goes on about the famous Freemasons here. You know what I mean? But again, hundreds of notorious criminals like Jack the Ripper to Kenny Noy, currently serving a life sentence, you know, for killing Steve. I ain't going to go into that. Don't need to. Oh, what am I done here? Being found being a Mason useful in their criminal careers, and they will, because at the end of the day they ain't going to get arrested, because the Freemasons, they give one little sign and they have to protect their brothers. I've shown you that in their past rituals and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? Again, look, all the Freemasons, yeah, are royal families, dukes, earls and lords, yeah, and that, like I said, all the, we call it lowly Masons, but they're all on the same level anyway, yeah, you know, regardless of it in the lodge, everyone is on the same level, whatever it is. Don't matter if you're a king, a queen, a duke, a lord, every Freemason is on the same level, even though we have a ranking system, yeah, okay, you got to get on, you know, you got to understand that, but more into that maybe a bit later. I think that's coming up anyway, I don't know. Anyway, when they were young men. You see now. Look, Prince William and Harry, were both courted by the Masons when young men. So again, minds being moulded. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because you can't tell Prince William and Harry that it was Freemasons that killed their mum. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what did kill their mum. Freemasons. Yeah, pure, planned, simple. Yeah, everyone knows it. What have you done about it? Shh. Exactly what the Freemasons wanted. Shh. Yeah. Shush. Like everything else. Twin Towers. Shh. Keep quiet. Yeah. And they do it globally, you know, or everything. It don't matter. The profane will shh. Yeah. but if and when they joined, it's just in a Masonic secret. Perhaps being a Mason doesn't fit in with the new look royalty band. And are busy building, yeah. Public, again, double Trump. Oh yeah, Andrew, is that at least 6 million Freemasons well today, including 2 million in the US. Now, if my videos are about the Masonic increasing army, and the Freemasons are saying, well, we're a decreasing, dying breed, mothballs and old men, right? 6 million. Across the world, in every town, city, in every country, isn't decreasing, it's increasing, isn't it? Yeah. And the army is strong, powerful and dangerous, very, very dangerous, believe it. What is undoubtedly true is that there is 6 million, 2 million in the US. One is Donald Trump, so perhaps Masons really are just a not very amusing joke after all. And that's the point, isn't it? Donald Trump come from the Mafia 5 families, yeah, that built his Trump Towers with, you know, cement and all the rest of it, and all the cons and the, you know, all the whistles of a criminal gang. Do you know what I mean? So he was having dealings with the criminal 5 families in America. I mean, there's more on that in my forum, you know what I mean, where, you know, like the Cray twins associated, they were introduced to the the Crays introduced to the American mafia and all that, you know what I mean? But that's what runs the country, you know. And then I ain't gonna get into that again. I'll do it later. I'll do a video on it. Anyway, Prince Philip's secret life as a Freemason. Duke worked in tight-lipped society remembered, you know what I mean? And this is the Freemasons, you know what I mean? They pay a tribute to him, who died, passed away. There he is, look, bum, into the Navy Lodge, look. 5th of December, you know what I mean? But again, it's all, you know, see, look, and here he is, look, this is it, look, here you go, look, he is initially held as Prince of Greek and of Denmark, right? Philip joined the Royal Navy, right? He was mentioned in dispatch for his bravery in the Battle of Cape, see, because it was a Freemason battle. You know what I mean? In Germany, invasion of Crete. It was a Freemason battle. Do you know what I mean? Not, you know, but they don't mention that. You know, it's a Masonic war that he was in. You know, Grand Lodge of Freemasons. You know, I'm sure there was something else I had here that here's like the family tree, but they're all Freemasons. Look, yeah. And when they go to war, this is who, you know, this is who controls the war. You know, it's unreal. But there you go. Anyway. I didn't think there was something on here. I'm sure that was something I was going to, you know, but again, you know, I can't do all that, you know, I forget stuff, don't I? Freemasons, again, look, open a lodge at Buckingham Palace, but the Queen isn't amused, yeah, and there he is, look, okay? So the Freemasons are that powerful, right, that they can open a Royal Masonic Lodge within the royal household, you know what I mean? And the police, so basically, look, it's being borne by members of the royal household and police who protect the royal family. So they're opening it, yeah, and their decision to call it the Royal Household Lodge has put them in collision course with Buckingham Palace, right? But it don't matter, the Queen's saying no, but they're still going ahead with it. So what power has the Queen got over Freemasonry? None. Although the Queen's cousin Duke Ken is head of the secret organisation, he's Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England. The new branch has not gone down well with the royal family. The palace has no power to halt the formation of the lodge. So what power has the Queen or Parliament or anyone else to stop the Freemasons putting a lodge in the Buckingham Palace? They have no power, because Freemasonry is the power within the UK. Not your governments, not your Labour, not your SDP, LDP, UKIP and all that, it's Freemasonry. You see what I mean? Because Freemasonry has the power within the UK, same as it has with every country. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Look, Buckingham Palace has not and would not endorse this sort of arrangement. No permission has been given by the Palace for a Buckingham Palace Lodge or anything similar. If permission is sought, it will be declined. But they still put one in there. So what power has the Freemasons? They say, oh, we've got no power, and I can show you post what, they go, oh, we've got no power, we've got no this, we're poor, we've got nothing. Do you know what I mean? That's all, because they want you to, the illusion that they've got nothing, they're no danger, do you know what I mean? But they've creeped into every country, they've crept into every power system, you know what I mean, all across the board. Do you know what I mean? So if they've got a power to do that, what power do you think they got power to shut you up? Shh! And they do, they just shut you up. What are you going to do? Who are you going to complain to? Come on anything. Where are you going to complain? Complain to the police? No, the police will shut you down. Shh! Be quiet, shut up. Do you know what I mean? The press may print this and print that, but it's all forgotten about. The 9/11, it's not forgotten about, but no one's doing nothing about it. We know they did it, but nothing's being said. Same as everything else, we know Blair did war crimes. Anything done? No. What about Hillary Clinton? She arrested? No. Do you know what I mean? They killed Epstein in his jail cell. Freemasonry, that is, obviously. Again, anyone get arrested? No. They arrested the 2 guards, but they got off on a technicality again, because they know if they went the full hog on them, they'd spill like they'd be given it what actually did happen in the cell. But because you're letting them away, they can keep their mouth shut for 6 months or whatever and get a couple of probation. That's nothing. But if you were sticking them a life sentence or blah blah blah, bloody hell, they would be singing like canaries. Mind you, they wouldn't be, because they'd be hanged like Epstein, wouldn't they? They sort of get killed off as well. But this is what it's about. They hold themselves accountable to no one or anything, because they are the power in Parliament and everywhere else. You know what I mean? Look, here we go. Look, Masons are widely believed to further the business and professional interest of brother Masons, although they would deny this and claim it is a harmless social and charitable organisation. It's not a charitable organisation. It's bugger all. It's pure and simple, just evil men out for themselves and bugger the profane. And they're the biggest criminals I know. It's based in a Masonic hall elsewhere, but will open to members of the Royal Household, from armed police protection officers to below stair staff such as pages and footmen. You know what I mean? But like I said, you'll have to, you can read this all yourself. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, they just totally, if Buckingham Palace say we don't want one in there, well, what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? You're going to do nothing, because we're Freemasons and we control. We're in charge, Yeah, look, here we go. The concern that Masons will preferred and those who aren't Masons will be written out of the script, yeah? See what I mean? What's it inside? Is it there are a lot of concerned, right? You say people fear a lot of business will now be conducted behind closed doors, that those who don't sign up to Freemason can't have any effect on it. You see, and that's what it's all about. And you won't. Anyone who's outside the lodge won't have any say in anything. You know what I mean? There are all sorts of allegiances and cliques and cabals. People fall in and out of favour, and there's a lot of whispering in ears. Yeah. The last thing the household needs is a secret society, especially one with a reputation of Freemasonry, which is crap. The Grand Lodge of England issued a Royal Household Lodge with a warrant in June last year, although it will not formally exist until the consecration ceremony on May 19th at Freemason Hall in London. So they don't care what, they go right up against the palace. Do you know what I mean? They don't care, because they are the power. You know what I mean? The insider said the idea of being generated by serving and past members of the Royal Protection Squad, see what I mean, with new recruits, the total number involved is approximately 70, yeah? And they're the people that killed this protection squad. These are the ones that killed Lady Diana, do you know what I mean? Author and broadcaster Martin Short, read his book, brilliant, whose book Inside the Brother exposes Masonic practice in the UK. I think that's in my forum anyway. If not, I'm going to screen it anyway. I've got it, I'm going to put it in my forum. It's a catastrophic time to start such a lot, given all the problems facing the royal family at present. The royal family is definitely trying to improve its modern in PR terms, but this is bad news for them. You know what I mean? It's bad news all over, if you ask me, with anything to do with Freemasonry. Here we go again, but Queen isn't moved. Again, look, you know, it's just basically again saying, yeah, okay, whatever. We're going to put, we're going to go in and put a lodge in the palace anyway, regardless of what the Queen says. Now, this is what the ranks are and the privileges of the peerage, yeah, which is, again, like I said, this is about what the Masonic wars are about, yeah. We're nearly at the end here, and then I can get into the Masonic rituals, and I'm going to do two in one, if you know what I mean. Not this. I'll tell you in a minute. Right. See, the titles and the peerage, yeah. And this is what it is, right. Allowed the government to create life peerage, yeah. All baronies, normally the Prime Minister, chooses only peers for his own party, but he has also permanent leaders of the opposition parties to recommend peers from their own party. Life peers, sometimes referred to as working peers, right? And this is what it's all about, see? It's all about him. They pick who they want, do you know what I mean? And who's in that hierarchy, do you know what I mean, within each town, city, estate, or whatever you want to call it, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But look, I mean, look at this. Look. Life peers now form overwhelming majority of peers sitting in the House of Lords. 357 of them having been appointed by Tony Blair, the Freemason. Do you see what I mean? Tony Blair, the Freemason, and we know what he's done and what he ain't bloody done, perverting in that toilet and whatever else. But he's picked 357 Freemasons. But is there a way to confirm that? No, of course there isn't. But there you go, that's what it's about. And it's all about peers, lords and earls. And here they are here, look. See, this is it. Look, there's the worshipful master in the middle. Freemasons on the left, Freemasons on the right. Freemasons in the middle and Freemasons everywhere else. Do you know what I mean? But this is what it's about, you know, this is the peerage, yeah? And this is what it's about, look, the centuries. Look, this article serves as an introduction to the British peerage, yeah, which was evolved over the centuries into 5 ranks that exist today. Duke, Marquis, Earls, Viscounts and Barons and Earls, yeah? Right? So when they fall out, this is all from these people, well, Freemasons, when they fall out, this is where it goes to war, yeah? And they go, oh, it's this, that and the other, blah, blah. But it's only, all it's about is it's only to do with Masonic lodges, yeah? See, the Royal Council, yeah, blah blah, and it goes on and on and on. But that's what it's all about, yeah. And when they someone comes and invades, yeah, that's when they start these Masonic wars. Now I don't want to go into these Marquis, Earl, Viscounts and Barons, and you can do the research on it yourself, yeah. The titles, you know, look, House of Lords, only 90 of the 790 or so members are hereditary peers. So already it's been contradicted, hasn't it, in the 2 pages, yeah. On the House of Lords are life peers, only 90 of the 790 or so members are hereditary peers. So I don't understand it, and I don't pretend to know it, yeah. But I know it's about heraldom and all that, yeah. Again, you can look it up yourself here. That's the British nobility and the gentry, yeah. That'll give you the times. Don't forget the women, the dames. You can go into that, you know. But that's what it's all about, yeah. And like I said, the land gentry. See, they own the lands. Yeah, and the lands, you know, and the titles, where is it? The titles, yeah, Dukes, Earls, and this is what it's all about. And then, obviously, as you go down, you know, into the Masonic lodges, because this is what they do, and here they are here, look, all these people here, these are all different lodge members, and that's just passed down. And when it goes into, you know, into that order where someone falls out or do something, that's when they go to war, do you know what I mean? But again, these are other peerages, look. And I'll show you this in a minute. I'm going to get into the point of this. Again, peerage of England. Again, look, you can see it, look. And that's their different counties, look. You've got Viscounts and all that. But I ain't going to go into that. I'm going to research it for you. Because basically, like I said, this is where they put it all confused. But it's all Freemasonry, you see. See, look, you've got Norfolk. See, there's a different... I ain't going to come up. See, look, Pyramid. Oh, come on. Somerset. Oh, no, let's go to a different one then. No, it's just giving the same thing, isn't it? I thought it was going to give you the different, the hairdoms or whatever it's called. I can't remember. Well, I'll show you what I mean. But can you see where they're different? Look, Cornwall, Norfolk, Somerset. Do you know what I mean? Bedford, St Albans, Devonshire, and then under that, then you can go down again, and you've got like the Earls. Look, the Earl of Derby, Pembroke, Devon. But all these people here, the earls and dukes and lords, they're all your worshipful masters, yeah, what look after the, you know, like in America that would be the states, say, but here it's the counties, yeah. These are what run your counties, yeah, and the top positions within your county, and these counties then answer up to boom boom. Do you see what I mean? You know, and that's what it is. These are all the different, you know, what run the counties, yeah. These are all the top people with the Masonic lodges that run the county, but they'll only meet, like, you know, like I said, 6 times a year, 4 times a year, and they'll go, oh, what's going on within our county? Do you know what I mean? The rest of the time they're just like doing their own bits and pieces, whatever they do, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But they eat well, don't they? So this is what looks after you, yeah? See? And this is just another level of Freemasonry. These are the ones that own the lodges, that got all the money, you know what I mean? They decide who goes in where, do you know what I mean? And that's what it's about, you know, the Masonic lodges. What is an Earl and how is the British dukedom? And here it is, look, this is what they look after, you see? Because if you look at it, it's, like I said, it's all to do with heraldry and then banners. Again, I forgot what the bloody banners are, but you know, and that's what it's about. It's all about the banners and what these are, yeah. And down the line, this is where it all comes in, and they're the eyes and ears of the royals and the elite. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, then you go above that. Do you know what I mean? And there he is there. That's where it all comes from. This is where all the Masonic wars come, and you know, blah blah blah, and that's where it all come from. Yeah, it's just, you know, where is it? Warrior and noble. Yeah, see, look, under Norman kings, the title became hereditary, yeah, and the passed down through the males of the family. According to Merriam-Webster, it is an ancient title that comes from the words warrior and nobleman. You see, impress your friends with that knowledge at your next Royal Trivia session. The equivalent of an earl is a continent, is a European count, yeah. So again, like I said, it's counts, and this is why they have their wars, and they're just Masonic wars, yeah. And it's like their own, you know, like you got the tiger and the lion and the bear. Do you know what I mean? Each is represented by that shield, if you know what I mean. And there he is, look. But there's the army standing behind him. They're all Freemasons. Do you know what I mean? That's all they are. They're just Freemasons. They just did not putting their aprons on, you know. At the moment, there are 191 earls, so you've got a chance of meeting one in the wild. The number does not include the most famous earl, the Earl of Wessex. You know what I mean? But these are, again, these are just the, you know, the people that run the lodges, yeah, the big top names. Do you know what I mean? And everyone below that, you know, like the Master Masons, are looking after the royals and all that sort of thing, yeah, through the peerage. You know what I mean? Is it peerage? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, but this isn't my my forte or whatever you call it. Do you know what I mean? Look, a Marquis is second in command, right under the Duke, but above the Earl, Viscount, and Barons. Yeah, this is what your Freemasons are, you see, and they're the ones that protect the people above. Do you see what I mean? I'd never go this high, but this is what runs your towns and run your cities, yeah, because they've already fought the wars for them, and they've got all the land. Do you know what I mean? They've been willing it down for decades. Do you know what I mean? So when you try and take this power off, this is who you're taking the power off. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Here they are. Look, see, this is what the Freemasons look after. These sort of people, but these are the people that are the head of the lodges. You know, the Grand Masters. You know, obviously they're above the Grand Master. They don't need to be a Grand Master, but the Grand Master will be reporting to these dukes and earls and lords. Do you see what I mean? You know, again, I'm not going to go too much into this. You can research it yourself. But there, you know, that's what it is. Look, do you know what I mean? He's a Freemason, and then he go, oh, we're going to war because this lodge just fell out with us. Do you know what I mean? Or we're going to war because we want to take over their land and say, you know, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? This is the setup of a bad joke. When you come across an earl, address him as my lord or your lordship or worshipful master. You know what I mean? Blah blah. And this is where it all comes from. You see, where they, you know, same as within a lodge. You know what I mean? Your worshipful master, or you're this, or you're that. You know. Don't forget the females. Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, they inherit the same. Yeah. In Scotland, you know, it is. Look, they're as follows: Arden and baronies, Audley barony. Do you know what I mean? Again, these are all the different, you know, the females, yeah, and they inherit hereditary peerage titles as well. So they're Masonic women. Do you know what I mean? These are all Masonic women, and that's what it's about. So the women are just the same as the men. Do you know what I mean? It's all about protecting the lineage of the royals, okay? And this is what, when it all goes to war, this is where it kicks off, yeah? Stick with me because I am getting to it. You'll see what I'm coming to. Like I said, I go round about the houses. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not a famous bloody orator. I don't talk, you know, and I have to like blah, 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 whatever. Right. Anyway, the heraldry, yeah, the heralds, yeah, College Yard. King Richard III. It was decided at Queen Street. Wait there, boom, boom. Great Fire, London. The Earl Master, Heraldry Officer, Duke of Norfolk, Officer College. He's running a place. Here we go. Look, the Earl of Marshall, right? So you can call him the Super Grand Master or the Royal Master, whatever you want to call the Earl Marshal. A hereditary office held by the Duke of Norfolk oversees the college, although in practice he usually leaves the running of the place to the heralds. Do you see what I mean? Which is basically the Master Masons. Do you see what I mean? And it works in the same way as that. That's what, I hope you're getting what I'm on about here, but I ain't very good at it, yeah? So look, the officers of arms, because it's an army, remember that. The Garter Principal, Kings of Arms, Clerks, King of Arms, Norreys and Ulster King of Arms, and also Chester Herald, Lancashire Herald, Richmond Herald, Somerset Herald, Windsor Herald, York Herald. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, each lodge, these are all lodge people that control a certain lodge within a certain state or here county, right? And that's what it is, you know. And like I said, the Freemasons answer up to that because they are the ones who control the lodges. Do you see what I mean? These are your, you know, what you know, the Roy's Cross, you know, and all that. But if you look at it, you know, the dragons and all the different names, you'll just find it's the banners within Freemasonry. Do you know what I mean? You know, heraldic devices. You see, this is what it is all about. Look, you see, the lion, the unicorn, and what's on the shields. Do you know what I mean? And you know, like the fleur de lis. Here we go again. I still can't get it, but this is what it's all about. You know, the coats of arms, yeah. And that coat of arms, like I said, is within each Masonic lodge. Do you know what I mean? And when they have when there's like a talk in a lodge, they're actually standing there as lords, dukes, and earls, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is, you know. Again, look, Leon Officer, the ancient science of heraldry is thought to have evolved as a practical way to distinguish one combatant from another. Do you see what I mean? And that's what the heraldry is all about. That's why you get different lodge heraldry or banners, what I've been showing you, yeah, because that's what it's about. They're combatants, yeah. And like I said, when they fall out, you get world wars, civil wars, and this, you know, them banners will stick with them with that Freemason lodge, and all these banners here will be with that lodge. Do you know what I mean? And that's how, you know, it works. You know, the expressive coat of arms came about from the practice of knights, Masonic knights, having his family insignia. Do you see what I mean? Embroidered upon his surcoat, but obviously they got them on the banners now, and garments that was worn in that over his armour and chainmail. The insignia was also woven into the knight's horse. Obviously they don't ride horses no more, but it's all to do, like I said, about heraldry, knights. It's not gone away, none of it. The lords, the dukes and earls, and everything to do with the tournaments and all the rest of it is all the bloody. It's still today. It's still, you know, it's still prevalent, is it? Today as it was yesterday. You just don't see it no more because they keep it shh, yeah. It's all within the lodge, you know, and it's all about heraldom, you know. But again, look, this together with the association of personal insignia with the inheritance of lands, yeah, because that's where they inherit everything and pass it to each other, and feudal rights, yeah, and they still believe they've still got the feudal rights. They believe that within the lodge. Led to the coat of arms, the common hereditary, descendant from father to son, as within Freemasonry. You see, the practice of using marks of marks, yeah, which they use, candidacy badges born in the upper part of the shield, yeah, used to distinguish one son from another, as standardised in the early 15th century. And this has not gone away. It's still prevalent today within Freemasonry. And when they go to war, they're Masonic wars, you see. And again, I can go through this. You need to look this up yourself. You know, I don't want to bore you with all this, but again, look, it's all symbols, yeah, yeah, and it's still here today, prevalent within Freemasonry. And again, the use of heraldry or gold, argent, white, blue. Do you know what I mean? The colours, again, are just as important within there. You know, like you look at their Masonic rings, there'll be blue backgrounds, red backgrounds, all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But the crests of a human figure, a beast, a bird, a monster, or an object. Do you see what I mean? And that's what it's all about, you know. Maybe angelic or human beings, kind of a living creature, natural or imaginary. Do you know what I mean? You see? And this is what it's all about, you know. And you've got the royal coat of arms, which is the lion and the unicorn, yeah. So the more lions within the coat of arms, the higher the person will be within blah blah blah. The right to bear supporters is now restricted to peers. Lords spiritually do not use supporters. Certain orders of knighthood, counties, cities and borough councils and certain corporations, Freemasonry, right? The heraldry of coat arms is called blazon, yeah. And again, like I said, obviously I think I've gone enough into this, yeah, where you're getting, you know, when I say walls are Masonic walls, you know, and then, you know, here's my banner, who's going to stand with me, and then the banners come to that Masonic lodge, do you know what I mean? And then Masonic lodges fight, you know, and that's what it's all about, you know, in war. But that's like us telling you here that certain orders of knighthood, county, city and borough councils, which is your towns and cities, you see what I mean? And certain corporations, but they own all that, you see, and that goes on today. That is what is running your countries today, and it's just called Freemasonry. Don't get confused with anything, it's just Freemasonry, yeah? They just keep it, you know, boom, boom, boom. But they think, look, point as God defending the right, and that's what they do it by iron, not by the sword. Diligence and humility, you know. But again, you know, you just, you know, once you start researching it, you really know what it is. And again, look, it goes for German nobility, yeah. And again, if you research the German nobility, yeah, you'll find again, because they're Freemasons, that's when they went to war with the Germans, and then you got the World War because everyone went, well, I'm holding my banner up. Are you helping us? Are you with these Freemasons, or are you with this Freemasons? Yeah, and obviously, look, you see the double-headed eagle, yeah, and that's the Holy Roman Empire. Oh, yeah, I can do it there. Look, boom, boom. Oh no, I thought it was a different one. There it is. Look, and I've already shown that within my videos. The double eagle headed black eagle within the Masonic lodges, okay? But again, like I said, it's not, the nobility goes everywhere, yeah? And it just doesn't, you know, like I said, when you think it's just in the UK, it's not. It's in, you know, again, it goes like when Spain and France fight, you know, and France and bloody, you know, who's helping us, do you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, you know? And again, they give away land titles and money for support, don't they? Blah, blah, blah. But I ain't getting into that. But again, look, it's lordships, you know, electorate, you know, the Grand Dukes, Grand Princes, Margarines, you know, Countess, you know, it's all, again, heraldry, yeah? And here it is, look, this is it. This is us, we're the serfs, the peasants, the profane, subject to the local lords of justice and to his demands to provide labour and payments, yeah? So that's us, we're the serfs, we're the peasants, we're the profane, yeah? The merchants, right? The merchants will be your magistrates, do you know what I mean? Because they're your shop owners and that, yeah? But again, they'll be your, like, your master masons or whatever, do you know what I mean? Your master masons, and they'll be your magistrates, do you know what I mean? They'll give them the power to administer law in the magistrate court, even though they're not really a bloody anything to do with anything, but they manage to they manage like gods, you know, to administer the law to the profane serfs and peasants. And then your doctors will be in, well, I thought your doctors will be your knights anyway, yeah, and I think they're Knights Templar, but again, don't call it Knights Templar, they're Freemasonry right through and through. It don't matter where you go, all the way up. But it's just like I said, you've got the different you know, they're different heraldry and all that. That's what segregates it, type thing, yeah. And then you've got your barons, your counts and your dukes, all looking after the king and the clergy. But again, you can go above this triangle here, you know, and again, I'm not going to go into that, but you can research it, and it's here, you know, in you know, all, you know, if you want to go into that. And I'm not about that anyway. It's about what's in your town, you know, the most powerful, look, kings, bishop, barons, but all of them, we're the least powerful, the profane we are, but all of these are just Freemasons that dish out injustice to the peasants, the villains and the serfs, yeah, do you know what I mean? But like I said, the peasants that get made up to being master masons won't get above, you know, they won't get up here with the bishops and the barons and the lords. They'll be always forever be separate from that, you know. So it doesn't matter. The feudal system of the kingdom of Itea or whatever it is, and there it is. Like you see, again, peasants, the profane, and then you got the commoner, what was the working class maybe, and then you get the knights, and they, you know, these are the ones that look after you. And as you go up, obviously, but you ain't getting up to any of these top nobilities or highborns or whatever you want to call them. Do you know what I mean? The nobility. But you've got the sworn swords, which is the Knights Templars, that make sure the peasants and the commoners don't make too much of a noise and protect the nobility and the highborn above. Do you know what I mean? Shh. So they've got these ring of knights that are in every town and city that that shut the profane up. Do you know what I mean? That's why you'll never see any justice. Do you know what I mean? Look, a quick and dirty guide to feudal nobility, yeah? And if you read the article, which is here, dankbulk.com feudal nobility guide, he'll take you through it. About, you know, the you know, like he spent a dozen years performing as nice for and both how to pick up prostitutes in Shakespearean English, and when it was okay to let go of the hospital, and he goes on and on and on about it. But again, like I said, he tells you how it became, you know, prevalent, you know. But again, Freemasons are never mentioned. Yeah, look, conquest to the War of the Roses. Now the War of the Roses, if you do your history, is Freemason, yeah, and it was a Masonic war. Do you see what I mean? That's just a little, but again, look, there's no mention of Freemasons in there. Do you see what I mean? So that's what, you know, that's what it's about, you know. And like I said, look, the Duke of Normandy trumped up a claim to England, then sailed over from France and took it, right? So basically, that's a Masonic lodge, try to take a thingy. So all the lodges in England then go, oh, come to my banner and will you help me fight the Duke of Normandy because he's done this. Do you see what I mean? Even though they're all brothers, but we'll get as many profane idiots, we'll kill them by the millions. Do you know what I mean? But we're all right because we're standing on the, you know, on the hill while they're standing toe to toe shooting each other. But that's what it's about. But you have to do a little bit of research on that, you know. But this is the people they're protecting, you know. And a lot more like this. You see these gangs here, you see. You know what I mean? Dukes, Earls, yeah. Do your research on it, like I said, you know. And then you can go, you know, like you got the system keeps changing, yeah. But it doesn't. It's all the same all the time. Look, kings, dukes, marks, and all. And that's what the Freemasons are looking after all the time, yeah. And you can, you know, you go into the rules of it and that, but you know, research it yourself, yeah. Again, look, here it is, you got your king, and you get a king within a Masonic lodge, yeah. They always got a king and a blood royal prince, you see. So they vie for the kingship or whatever. You've got 180 barons, that the baron, 180 barons within their counties, say, let's say the counties, look after 3,000 to 5,000 knights within the towns and the cities, and they, the knights, look after all the peasants, the profane, which is us. Do you see what I mean? And that's how they do it within Britain. You know what I mean? Obviously that was the kingship, but it's now queens. Do you know what I mean? But this is how they, and that knights within the towns and cities keep the peasants underfoot with their boot on their neck, and so long as they're shush, everything's okay. Do you know what I mean? But all these knights, barons and kings are all Freemasons. The peasants are all the profane, yeah, without the temple. Again, research it. I'm now getting to the point. Give me time. I know, you know, I'm not a professional. Empress, yeah. Don't forget the queens, the girls, yeah. Noble ranks: Empress, Queen, Grand Duchess, Grand Princess, Archduchess, Duchess, Princess, Mayonettes. These are all the ladies, yeah. But again, it's all Freemasonry. Here it is in English, Latin, German, and French. Look, again. Like I said, it don't matter where you are, it's all to do with heraldry, yeah? And when one step out of line, that's when they go to war. And then that's when all the profane, you know, get thrown in on the front line and get killed. But here it is, look, the governing royals, you've got the left hand, the right hand, knights of the royal court, the royal family, right? So you've got all that above. And then you've got your knights, your lords, your lord minors, first blades, second blades, and nobles. We ain't even got to us yet. Say master masons, and they're trainers for the training, and the majors, which are the, say, the entered apprentices, blah blah blah. You've got soldiers, civilians, and slaves, and that's us, the profane. But that's how that pyramid works. Look, basically that's what it is, you know, as you go up the pyramid. But obviously if you're made up from a slave just to, say, an entered apprentice or a master mason, yeah, which say the master's here, these masters won't be getting anywhere near the royal family, the knights or the lords or the miners. Do you see what I mean? They're just following orders of what they want and what they say, you know. And we, the slaves, won't get anywhere. We won't even get up here. Do you know what I mean? We'll always be slaves, you know, to the masters. But again, you can go, you know, research that as fairaffinity.net view, and then you've got, you know, a row of numbers there. But I'm going to go into that, and it tells you again, you know, the direct descendants of the king or the queen of a country by title, not by blood. Yeah, and it tells you what it is here. You know, the governing rules being sitting on the throne of a country. Right hand serves as the regent, left hand serves as head of the royal guard and of the shadows. You know what I mean? And like I said, the protect. But I give you all that, you know, what they're up to. You know what I mean? That's a good idea of what's going on. But just think of it, rather than majors trained as it, think of it as Freemasons. Yeah, because that's all it is, Freemasonry. You know, and how high you're going to go, or how high they're going to let you go. Again, list of Americans who held noble titles from other countries. Yeah, again, Freemasons when they've travelled abroad, and you know, look, Lady Randolph Churchill. You know, and again, like it's all lords, earls, and dukes. Yeah, and they were the ones that were, you know, sending in the cavalry to kill the Indians, to take over, you know, a country and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Again, who were the titled Americans? You can research that yourselves. America's in Europe, aristocrat aboard, King Edward in his circle, marriages, the connection, and obviously they've got the house. You can see that, look, the pyramids on the house and the Masonic arches and all the bits and pieces. But again, I'm not getting into that. I want to skip through that. Now we're coming to the interesting bit. Look, this is what I'm now going to read to you some of this. Okay, look, and the gods shewed to Moses in the mount. Right, so look, who therefore became the general master mason, yeah, Moses was, as well as the king of Jerusalem, and being well skilled, blah blah blah. But look, going down to here, look, we're a whole kingdom of masons, yeah. So they're Israelites, so that the Israelites at their leaving Egypt were a whole kingdom of masons, right? Now, if I've done my bit of research on this, and obviously I've got it in posts and God knows whatever else. The Israelites, what were the builders of Egypt, and done this, that, and the other. And obviously we know about the parting of the sea, blah blah blah. And there's a ritual they do on that as well in Freemasonry. But I can't remember what it is. You know, like I said, Freemasonry, my last video is all to do with taste, smell. You know, they have a drink, yeah, a cup, a specially built cup. And when you first taste it, it's sweet. And then when you second take a sip out of the cup, it's bitter. Do you know what I mean? Things like that they do, you know. So that's all to do with senses of smell, you know, and hear, and you know. But again, look, the Grand Master Moses. Moses was a Grand Master leading a kingdom of Masons, a kingdom of Freemasons, you see, who often marshalled them into the regular and general lodge, while with the wilderness and gave them the charges of the order, and they be well observed, but no more the premise must be mentioned. Yeah, but this is what it's all about, you know. And they're doing obviously King Solomon and, you know, Hiram Abiff and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but we're now, well, I'll get into that anyway. It's all in, you know. But like I said, the Grand Master Moses. So Moses was a Grand Master, yeah, and he led the people out of Egypt, which was a kingdom of Freemasons. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. And again, you can read this if you want to. That's in. That's up the top here. Look, you can see it, and that's at the top. But I think I did just a search into Google just to find this, and you can read all of that. But it goes on about Hiram the king. But that's what they, you know. And this is what it's about. They you know, it's all about Hiram Abiff and all the stories. You know, they put what's his bloody name? You know, King Solomon was a Grand Master of the Lodge at Jerusalem, and then King Hiram and Grand Master at the Lodge at Tyre, and was inspired by Hiram Abiff. You know, but it's all about, this is what Freemasonry practices. Do you know what I mean? You know, and this is what they try and be, kings, yeah. But I put in Freemasonry, Bellis, Command, yeah, and then go to the Constitutions of Freemasonry, and that's the digital, and the top one there. And if you click on that, that gives you the book, yeah. But obviously I've gone down a few pages, yeah. But that's what it is, and you can read that at your own leisure, you know, and that's what it's about. Do you know what I mean? But I wanted to show you that because we're now coming to that in a minute within the and while marching the Canaanites through Arabia under Moses, God was pleased to inspire Bezaleel of the tribe of the Judah and Ahalia, blah, blah, blah. But in here, that'll tell you again, yeah, you'll see the name wherever it is, and these are the names, these are all passwords, these are, yeah, Japhet and all this. They use that within like Shem and all that. This is where they use it within the Freemasonry Lodge. Nimrod, there it is, look, Nimrod, they use that. That's now coming up in the ritual I'm now got to give you, yeah, and you'll see it goes on about the tower. Oh, where is it? Stop, sorry. City and a large tower. We're going to go on to that, and the flood, do you know what I mean? That goes on in the ritual as well, yeah. But I want to get to the bit where they go on about, you know, like I said, Baal, right? B-A-A-A, and here it is here, Baal, right? The king of the kings, yeah, the gate creeper, blah blah blah. I'm not going to go into it, but I am going to tell you who Baal is. I'm going to read all this lot, yeah. But king of the, it's to do with like witchcraft, and you know, he's the god, you know what I mean, of this, that and the bloody other, right? But I'm going to go into that, but I'm going to show you who Baal is, yeah. Yehu, Yehu versus Baal, yeah, a conflict of religious culture, okay. So you can research him up yourself, Baal. But here he is again, look, the modern Baal worship is the Moloch, the owl, which is Freemasonry, of course. Wait a minute. Oh, just scroll down. He's a pagan god, yeah. But you're now going to see this within the ritual I'm now going to explain to you, yeah. And obviously they do it within, you know, it's a satanic holidays and things like this, yeah. But I just wanted you to know who that was. And this is Baal here as Moloch, and as you know, they meet at Bohemian Grove and all that sort of stuff. And here it is here now. I think that is, don't quote me on that. Did not sacrifice babies to Moloch, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean. But it's a secret club in America, you know, and it's their god, you know what I mean. The profane of no power, the profane rights of no, profane rights of nobody. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Yeah. So that's what that, you know, that's what that is there. You know what I mean? Moloch or Baal, yeah. And it goes on today, yeah. And you can search it up. This is Baal, look, our biggest captivities, yeah. You know, cross, snakes, moon and star. So it's all to do with Freemasonry again, yeah. But this is who Baal is, and Lucifer, yeah. Egypt, ancient, look, Middle East and Arabia, right, was Islam, which is the Shriners, the Masonic Shriners, yeah. The moon god of Ra, yeah, which is Africa and Egypt. We know that's Freemason and Masonic for the pyramids, okay. So the Masonic pyramids, Masonic Shriners for Arabia. Ancient Babylon, snakes and Nimrod is I've lost it again. And then the cross of Christians, Western world, America, and that's the again another one. What's out of a bloody head? But there you go. Yeah, so that's your Baal, yeah. This is Baal here, which is basically, you know, he's named by all different types of names here. Like here he is here, yeah. Which is, again, I forgot his bloody name, Baal, but he's called something else. See, that's gone again. See, he's called something else, but I can't remember his bloody name, this one now, again. But he's in my past videos, and he's there. I can't remember, sorry, it's gone. Yeah, here he is again, Prince Charles, isn't he? But, yeah, that's Baal for you, right? And you're now going to hear him mentioned, you know, the pagan god, you're going to hear him mentioned within the Freemason ritual I'm now going to read to you. Like I said, please remember, I am not a profane, well, I am profane. See, it's spelled Bel or Baal, yeah? And that's what it's about. But this is him in Egypt, yeah? Isolated on the white ground, you know, and this is what it's about, yeah? But research it yourself who Baal is, yeah? And that's where, so now we come to here, the Freemason Examined. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but I hope I'm not boring you all, because this is the last, like, sort of video I'm going to do, or there might be just one more where I'm going to, you know, obviously perform and do some more ritual work, because this was all supposed to be about rituals anyway, do you know what I mean? And obviously I got sidelined, and I thought, well, you know, these Freemasons, they say they're on the decline when they perfectly know they're not, you know. So here we go, the Freemason examined, or the world brought out of darkness into the light, being an authentic account of all the secrets of the ancient society of Freemasons, which have been handed down by oral tradition only, from the institution to the present time, in which is particularly described the whole ceremony used at making masons, as it has been hitherto practised in all the lodges around the globe, by which any person who have never made may introduce himself into a lodge. Now remember, back in the day when you went to lodges, there's obviously no phones and all that sort of thing. So today it's a lot more harder, because they can verify who you are just by a phone call. Do you know what I mean? You know, or ringing the lodge up. You know, the thing. They also have visual aids. They have passports, and like I said, to get in the lodge, you'd have to pass certain, the password, the Masonic grips. You'd have to set up a lodge how it stands. Can you set up the lodge in an entered apprentice, whatever, and you'd have to set it up in that particular way, where the compass sit or whatever, and they like I said, they get you to say certain words and and like I said, all the ritual, here today, they memorise that. They didn't just memorise the questions, they memorised the answers too, because they would have to read the questions to the person, and then the person would have to give them the answers to that, you see. So this is how good the Freemasons have memorised, or have memories, do you know what I mean? Because back in the day, it was ear to mouth, and they used to do it over and over and again, so it was memorising all the time, and they did it by word of mouth. But like I said, to get in a lodge in them days was a bit more easier, because you couldn't verify it. Do you know what I mean? If you're up in Scotland, you went to a lodge to visit, they can't, get a message down to, south somewhere in time to verify whether you're a Freemason. But now they can obviously just do it over the phone, and it's instant, Anyway, at the present time, in which is a particularly described the whole ceremony used at making masons, as it has been hitherto practised in the lodge around the globe, by which any person who was never made may introduce himself to enter a lodge, with notes explanatory, historical and critical, to which are added the author's reasons for the publication hereof, and some remark on the conduct of the author of a pamphlet called Masonry Dissected, with a new correct list of all the regular lodges under an English constitution, according to their late removals and addition, by Alexander Sshhed, late master of the 3 regular constitutional lodges in the city of Norwich. The firm edition, with addition notes, London, printed, blah blah blah. Now I'm going to put this in my forum anyway, and I don't, I could read the whole lot out to you, but I ain't a very good orator, So what I'll do the first one, okay, because it mentions Baal, and I'll explain a few bits and pieces, and then I'll end it when I've finished on the first examination. And if you want me to read the rest of it out to you, then obviously put it in the comments, below, and I'll read it out to you, right? And I'll do it in the next video, and I'll do it, and obviously I'll do that Deputy Master Masons, the rest of that book. I'll screenshot my favourite pieces, and I'll do that with the ritual, But put it in, if you've listened to me so far and got to this point, and you want to hear the rest of it spoken orally, then message me in the comments in YouTube, and I'll do that for you, Failing that, I will put this in the forum, and it'll come under the title of Alexander Sshhed, so it'll be in the section A section, and it'll be under the Masons, the Freemason Examined. That's what it'll be called. So you can download the ebook yourself from my forum, and read it at your own leisure. But I'll read this now. I'll do the first part, and then if you want me to read the second and third parts, then message me and I'll do that for you, okay? But like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional at this, so I'll try my best. And here we go. I should have got a drink, really. There's an old coffee I've got here. I'll drink this. Right, here we go. As a Freemason, it is the subject of the following sheets. I suppose the reader would gladly be informed by what means I obtained this mighty secret, which has been actually kept from all ranks of people, the profane, which is us, of course, except those who have been regularly initiated, ever since the institution, which, according to oral tradition, was the building of Babel's Tower, the bulls of the Pope, nor the torturers of that infernal place, the Inquisition, could never extort the secret from any faithful brother. Now, the reason they couldn't extort any, because no faithful brother would be under the Inquisition, because obviously the people who were doing the Inquisition were Freemasons, yeah? Anyway, and that was a good way of getting rid of any troublemaker or people they didn't favour or like. But all people that were done under the Inquisition were non-Freemason, okay? Anyway, faithful brother, neither was the secret of the craft, nor was the cult ever exposed till now, though many have pretended to it, as well as France as in England. A pamphlet called Masonry Dissected was published here several years ago by one Samuel Pritchard, who, for a confirmation of the truth of what he had written, annexed an affidavit to it, which he had sworn before an alderman of London, that what he was going to publish was a true and perfect copy in every particular. Notwithstanding, he has in the same pamphlet inserted an oath or obligation which he says he took when he was made a Mason, by which he was solemnly bound not to reveal or cause to be revealed any of the secrets of Freemasonry. Therefore, an impartial person will be greatly puzzled to determine which of these oaths he may with any certainty be believed. It may likewise be a matter of great wonder how the magistrate could be guilty of so gross an error as to administer an oath to this anatomist, I think I'm saying that right, sorry if I ain't. It's Anatomist, anatomist, after he had taken, as he said, so solemn an obligation, which certainly the magistrate could by no means contradict, for which reason he must appear to him actually forsworn, unless the alderman thought the former oath was of no force, because it was administered by a person who had not the same authority with himself. Now, some of my readers may possibly be of the same opinion, though it is certainly a very weak one. I shall introduce the opinions of Bishop Sanderson, the great casuist that ever treated upon the subject of oaths, who says, when a thing is not by any perception or interdict, divine or human so determined, but every man pro hic at nunc, may at his own choice do or not do as he sees expedient. Let him do what he will. He sinneth not. 1 Cornelius V11 or VII, whatever that is, 36. As if Caius, Caius, should swear to sell his land to Titus or to lend him 100 crowns, the answer is brief. An oath in this case is both lawful and binding. Now, this judicious author mentions nothing concerning the authority of those who are to administer the oaths, but positively affirms that if one man swears to another that he will sell him his land or lend him 100 crowns, that he is bound to fulfill his oath. Therefore, if a man binds himself by an oath in a matter of the least moment, whether before a magistrate or not, he should still remember that he is before the supreme judge and is therefore obliged to perform it. Otherwise, he is certainly guilty of the horrible doing that again, is it? Right, okay. Guilty, I've got to pull it down a little bit. Guilty of the horrible, where's it gone? Oh yeah, horrible sin of perjury. If therefore this sham dissector of the Freemasonry has ever taken so solemn an obligation, which he swore he did when he was made a Mason, he was certainly forsworn by making the secret public, and as he really never did, as every impartial reader will believe, he nevertheless was perjured for making oath that he had. Therefore that man in his senses would ever give credit to a wretch that had been guilty of so detestable a crime. Yeah, now there's a little asterisk there, right? And through this book, as you know, obviously that gives the explanation. Yeah, if I miss some, I'm sorry. Oops, but there's a little asterisk there. Oh, I'm trying to get it, and let's try to copy paste it, but I can't. Yeah, here we go. No. See, and with these little asterisks, there's a thing at the bottom of the page every time, and it explains it. Right, so if I miss some, but like I said, you can go read the book yourself anyway. Anyway, the reader will wonder then by what means I obtained the secrets, having never been initiated, and for my own part, I am surprised they were never made public before, having passed so many centuries through so many countries, languages, sects, and parties, as sects, not sex. Right, but yeah. So when the reader, where he said it just above here, yeah, a wretch, yeah. So obviously they make him a perjured individual, and he's so detestable a crime. So it's a crime if you ever spill this for a Mason. You know what I mean? It's a very serious crime. That's why they killed William. I forgot his name now, but yeah, they killed William for it, didn't they? Anyway, sects and parties, a sex, not sex and parties. But however, as they never were, I shall no longer suspend the reader's curiosity. He will now have a fair opportunity of being as good a Mason as the best, by time, patience, and his own industry, for without a close application he cannot be sufficiently expert to pass an examination before his admission into a lodge. And this is what they do before you go into a lodge. They always test you, yeah, an examination. But like I said, most of it is like on face recognition anyway, yeah. Yeah. So most of it's face recognition. Like I said, they've got their own passports now, and you know, again, like I said, a mobile phone call to anyone. You know, you can send a picture. Is this the person? And you can verify it anyway. Yeah. Like I said, they've got their own laws. They've got their own. You know, they got their own passports. Can you believe that? You know. And they say they got no power, they got nothing. Come on, you know what I mean? They got their own internal courts as well, like I said. Anyway, mission at the lodge. 'Tis now upwards of 10 years since this grand secret fell into my hands, which was in the following manner. My father was made a Freemason about the year 1708, right? Now, there's the discrepancy I said within my thing, because the first Grand Lodge meeting was in 1717. So already there's a discrepancy, but we know Freemasons go back to Egypt anyway, yeah? They do, they're the builders, okay? But anyway, they met in 1717, yeah, I've already shown you that. But here, look, his father was made a Freemason about the year 1708, which is way before 1717. Anyway, when Sir Christopher Wren was Grand Master, obviously you know who Sir Christopher Wren is, at the lodge in London, then held at the Goose and Grillion Ale House in St Paul's Churchyard. See, so that's in the churchyard. And again, I don't know if I've done this already in the past. I've got to go through because I got a bit muddled up, but I haven't shown you their hotels yet. They use hotels, they use I've shown you some of the like churches and things, but they have Masonic lodges everywhere, yeah, and I mean everywhere. I'm going to show you their hotels, yeah, you just won't believe it, the hotels they own within the UK, yeah, but obviously they need somewhere to take their prostitutes, do you know what I mean, and the dancing girls after the lodge meets. Anyway, that's another story. Anyway, Christopher Wren was Grand Master at the lodge in London, then held at the Goose and Grillion Ale House in St Paul's Churchyard. At the time, many persons of distinction were admitted, and being known to understand masonry well, has often been sent for by the nobleman. You see what I mean? It's always the nobleman, yeah? Remember, it's the noblemen that run your towns and cities, yeah? And other eminent persons to instruct them in the art, you see? So when people join Freemasonry, it's the noblemen, the earls, the lords and the dukes, yeah? And how far into Freemasonry they go is up to them, you see, to instruct them in the art. He continues a master of that lodge about 34 years, which was as long as he lived. And at his death, I became master of all his effects, and with a small freehold estate. Yeah. So this is how he got the secrets. Yeah. Same place I got my secrets. Do you know what I mean? I use auctions. Yeah. Because when Freemasons die, they leave their family, get their stuff, and they got all this stuff they don't really need. So they put it up into auctions for sale, and that's where I come along, buy it, and I get their secrets. Okay, this is what I've got. I've got about 3,000 books, yeah, on just discs, yeah, and I've got maybe, oh god, I don't know, maybe 150 Freemason books, ritual books, that is, because I want to know when a Freemason's making signs. Do you know what I mean? I want to recognise them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I learn, yeah. I started to learn their rituals, but I thought, no, I'm not having that. Do you know what I mean? So I stopped that, and I just wanted to learn their secrets of how they recognise each other and with their recognition, you know. Anyway, that's another story. As I was one day looking over some papers in my father's bureau, I found one folded up and laid in a private drawer by itself, upon which I hastily opened it, thinking it was something very extraordinary, and so it was, for this was the title: A Freemason's Instruction. See the whole duty of a man, chapter 4, on the subject of oaths. And that's the asterisk what was above, and that's the little asterisk thing. I forgot about that. If I missed some of them, I'm sorry anyway, but I will get them in as I see them, yeah? But that will break up the writing a little bit. I'm breaking it up anyway because I'm talking all the time, aren't I? I suppose I'll shut up when the Freemasons decide to kill me. Anyway, which has been planned and plotted for many years, hasn't it? Hey, Mr. Freemason? Hey, Mr. Grand Master? Anyway, I thought this was extremely valuable, knowing my father had been a Mason many years, and therefore I made not the least doubt but the account was authentic. I immediately applied myself to the study of Masonry and shortly became master of the whole art. And you can, if you study, yeah, and the books are in my forums, yeah, and if there's a book you need or you're looking for, ask me, and I've got it. I've got over 2,000 books. Do you know what I mean? I've got real books, like I said, hundreds of real books on Masonry. So if you ain't got it, there's enough there. You know, the only thing I can't give you is their main passwords. Do you know what I mean? Which is what they use, which is like they'll say, oh, page 100. So that'd be the first thing. They'll go down 3. Then that'd be the next number, 3. So you go 1, 2, 3. And then the next number will tell them how many to go across. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that would be least, would be the password, you see, least. And they put that password out annually, you know, every couple of months. So if a profane person like myself gets it, it changes so quick, you know. But again, you can con them into giving you it, you know. Once you start the ritual with them, they'll give you the password anyway, you know. But they'll go report that in the pot. They would go report that to the tiler. Oh, I've let the password slip, and they change it again. You see what I mean? So you know, it's very hard. But like I said, you imagine that password again goes out through the whole UK like that, okay? Because every Grand Master gets sent it. That Grand Master then passes it on to the junior Dukins, the Dukin, you know, and then it goes all the way down, yeah? And it's sent in one big message, you see what I mean? You know? Anyway, but that's how they communicate, you know, it's that fast. You know, so if you're gang stalked or a perjured individual, they just put your face to memory, like I said. But we'll get to that anyway. Anyway, shortly became master of all art. My affairs soon after this required me to settle in Norwich, in which city are several regular lodges, and I was determined to pay a visit to some of them the first opportunity. The day after I came there, I sent a particular acquaintance, a very eminent attorney, again, see what I mean, attorney, a Freemason, to ask him to dine with me and spend the evening with me. He accordingly came and spent the whole afternoon, but he said but he declined staying the evening, saying he was particularly engaged in some gentleman whom he must precisely at 7 o'clock, and wished I was qualified to make one of the company. I then desired he would explain himself, which he accordingly did, and said, I am at the present master of a Freemason lodge, and am to meet 2 gentlemen whom I have proposed to be made this night, and if you have an indication that way you may make the 3rd. Upon this I thought that I had now a good opportunity to put my before mentioned design in execution, and immediately saluted him with a sign. Okay. Let me just draw that down a bit. There you go. He directly answered it by filling his glass and drank. Success to the craft. And then he gave me the same sign again, upon which I answered it by filling my glass and drank to the aforesaid health. He was extremely well pleased to think he had found a brother so unexpectedly, and said, pray, Mr. Sshhed, how long have you been a Mason, and where was you made? Yeah, and this is what happened. All it takes for them to recognise each other is just see that sign, and they'll answer to that, whether it's a hailing sign of distress. And like I said in my other videos, if you want to test who's a Mason who's sitting on the table, the men, just make a little clay coin up, yeah, and just throw it on the table and just walk out. The people who come outside from that table, they'll be your Freemasons. Okay, well, I've done that in other videos anyway. How long have you been made a Mason? You may remember, said I, about 5 years ago I went to the Antigua with my uncle Sshhed, who you know was a Mason, and at his request I was made a Parham Lodge as soon as we arrived. This I expressed was so grave a consonance that he believed what I said to be a fact, and said, sir, I have no reason to doubt what you tell me, but pray answer me 2 or 3 questions, which I did so to his satisfaction, that he took me by the hand. Okay, see the sign explained, that's on page 19, we'll get to that. And then see this explained on page 19 also. Okay, so we'll get to that. He took me by the hand and said, brother Sshhed, I am so far convinced that you are a Mason that you shall go with me and see these gentlemen made. I accordingly went and saw the whole ceremony, which fully convinced me that the instructions I had found in the bureau were genuine. My friend asked me to become a member of the lodge, which I agreed to, and was accordingly accepted, and in 2... Oh, that's bloody mouse. Oh yeah, there it is. Except that in 2 years I was installed as a master. Sometime after this I entered myself a member of 2 other lodges, in both which I had the honour of serving that office, but as some unforeseen misfortunes occasioned me to leave Norwich, a recital of which would be needless and tedious to the reader. I'm more than likely being tedious to the reader, so I won't worry about it, mate. I came to London. Herefore, I was advised by some of my friends who are not Masons to publish this account of Freemasonry for a small support in my necessitous, whatever the word is, circumstances. Therefore, those ladies who have hitherto censured the Freemasons so hard as to think them guilty of the worst of crimes, and those gentlemen who have long neglected to be made, thinking of the secrets too dear a purchase, have at length an opportunity for a trifle of knowing the whole mysteries, and now absolute remains no longer a secret. Yeah. Now I will say, you little ladies out there and girls, do you know what I mean? That's the sort of the end of his explanation of how he actually got the papers from his father, and then got made up to a Mason. But there's a bit in here where they go on about, the ladies, yeah, and why they can't be made a Mason. Remember, I take no responsibility for that. This is what the Freemason says. I disassociate that from miles away, just as a Freemason would disassociate himself away from a white collar. All right. I have nothing to do with what these Freemasons now say about women. I'm associating as far away as the Freemasons do on white collars. And Jimmy Savile. Anyway, the Freemasons examined, part 1, called the minor degree. Okay, now remember, these, when you're an entered apprentice, see, they call it, they called it different back in the day. Yeah, obviously they, so what you're going to hear is some different stuff. Okay, because that's all, like I said, that's all changed. That they change it, don't they? And make it better, or try to make it better. But remember, an apprentice, right, is like a T-boy. Do you know what I mean? He runs around here, he runs around there. All right, that's what, because you're an apprentice, yeah, and you're learning the craft. Do you see what I mean? So, to get made up to be a fellow craft, do you know what I mean? So the fellow craft would start sort of training what they've learned to the apprentice. Do you see what I mean? But they'd be the runabouts, the gophers, and all that sort of stuff. But the master masons would be learning their fellow craft people, and the fellow craft to learn the end of the apprentice. So you're going to hear a bit of things here, but that's like I said, this is going back in the day. This book, remember. So anyway, here we go. Called the minor degree. Yeah, the enter the press. The questions. Remember, you have to learn the questions, and you also have to learn the answers. Okay, so this is how good their memories are, and this is just the first part. Remember, there's 6,000 words, over 6,000 words they have to learn in ritual, and that's just the words. So you've got to learn the symbols. Do you know what I mean? How a lodge is placed. What is that symbol for? What does it denote? What does it mean? Do you know what I mean? There's so much to Freemasonry. It's not just simple handshake, a password. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, here we go. Oh God. Right, when did Freemasonry begin? Answer: about 154 years after Noah's flood at the building of the Babel's Tower. Who was Grand Master there? Nimrod, called by Masons Belus. Yeah. Where was the first lodge held? In the pleasant plain of Babylon, called Shinar, on the banks of the river Tigris. Yeah, and they have to remember all these names. Remember that, yeah? This is what they're teaching them all the time. All these names, you've got to know these names. If you don't know them, you're getting nowhere. Anyway, on what account was the lodge held? In order to contrive and lay a plan for a building of friendship, and also the building of that stupendous edifice. When was the lodge held? 101 years after the flood. Did they finish the work which they had begun? No, it was completely finished. It was not completely finished, for God confounded their language, that they could not understand what each other were called for. What succeeded the confusion of tongues? When Belus was baffled in this grand design, he assembled another grand lodge and instructed his men how to converse by signs, and whereby they were capable of executing his future designs. Okay, they did it by signs, which again is signs and symbolism. I'll just read this little asterisk up here, which is the Nimrod. Nimrod, which signifies a rebel in the Jewish and Chaldean languages, was the name given by the Holy Family and by Moses. But among his friends in Chaldea, he was called Belus, which signifies Lord, and afterwards was worshipped as a god by many nations under the name of Bel or Baal. Okay, there it is, black and white. Bel or Baal. Okay, God Bel, God Baal. Search him up. I've shown you a little bit about him, but this is their own Masonic book. Yeah, so the Nimrod. Okay. Friends in China, he was called Belus, right, which signifies the Lord, the light giver, and afterwards was worshipped as a god by the nations under the name of Bel or Baal, and became the Bacchus of the ancients, or Bacchus, the son of Chus. Yeah, right, at the lodge. A lodge is now placed where masons assemble and work. Hence, That assembly or duty organised society of Masons is called a lodge, and every brother ought to belong one and be subject to his bylaws and general regulations. The bylaws and regulations, that's what I mean. They've got their own laws and their own regulations, what they follow to the letter. And all that does, them laws and general regulations, is how to control the profane. But there you've got it in black and white. Who is Bel and who is Baal? I don't know. You do your research. There's Bel and there's Baal, and this is who they sacrifice to, remember that. There it is there, the Temple of Baal, Bel, coming to London later, and to New York, the occult analysts. So there it is, the resurrection of Baal, Moloch, the golden calf ritual, Bel, Baal, okay? Back here now, I just thought I'd wrote that in, you know what I mean, baby? Oh dear. Right, so there it is in black and white, okay? God of many nations under the name of Bel or Baal, and became the Bacchus of the ancients, or Bacchus, the son of Chus. And if you look at the ancients, there's the ancients, and then there's I forget now the bloody, but anyway, the ancients had a fight with the other dudes, and that's where all the wars come from as well, again, you know what I mean. But anyway, that's another story. What succeeded attended his instructions. The success was great, for soon the plain of Shinar became far more splendid than all the other parts in the magnificence of its buildings. What were the first injunctions Belus laid on the Masons? Silence, shh, secrecy, shh, and brotherly love. And that's what it's about, isn't it? Brotherly love, only for each in their own. The profane don't matter in any of this. You're without the temple. You don't look after Bel or Baal. Okay? Why so? Silence and secrecy were enjoined us, that none but the initiated should ever know our art and mysteries, and brotherly love, that by our own paralleled esteem and regard for each other's welfare. Do you see what I mean? Brotherly love, which is unparalleled esteem and regard for each other's welfare, and that's all they care about, each other's welfare, nothing about us the profane, and at that of the craft in general. Our fame might spread over the face of the whole earth and waters, so that we might be remembered among the sons of men till time shall be no more. And this is how they believe. Do you know what I mean? They're gods. Do you know what I mean? That's what they are. They think they're gods, and you need to pull the screw out of their compass. Did they travel into any other country? Yes, they travelled into Assyria, where they built several cities, for which reason Belus was called the founder of that monarchy. They afterwards discovered and multiplied over the earth, and formed themselves into lodges, in which they made and instructed Masons in the usual manner. Did they continue to make after that manner? Yes. In what manner was you made? And then, tell me by what authority, thus strictly you examine me, how I was made a Mason free. Examine. From Belus, great I had his power, who laid the plan of Babel's tower. Then who has such authority as I, who master am I to thee? Answer. Since from that mighty man of fame, the power you have you justly claim, from thee the secret I'll not hide, who art my true and faithful guide. Question. Give me then an exact account how you was made. I was led to the door, where a man stood with a drawn sword in his hand, who asked my friend what he wanted. Let me just go down again. Oh bloody hell, where's it gone? Oh dear. What he wanted. Bloody hell, this bloody mouse. Science join us. Oh yeah, there it is. Wait, no, I've got it. Stay, that'll do. And instruct Mason in the usual manner. See that bloody mouse? Wait a minute, guys, stick with me. There you go, right. Bloody mouse, right. Favour God, give me an extent account how you was made. I was led to the door. Oh yeah, sorry, what? Right, this was what gave rise to what is called Freemasonry, yeah? That's where the asterisk is. Sorry, I missed where the asterisk was. Being 53, okay? Years after the first assembly or lodge held. This tradition is firmly believed, okay? So it's firmly believed within the lodge, okay? Remember that, baby. Right, let me go down here. Sorry, it's bloody mouse, I'll get it fixed. Anyway, question. What did your friend reply? To have me made a Mason. Did he admit you? Yes, he struck the door with his sword, upon which it instantly flew open. My friend then led me by the hand into the very dark room, and then the door was shut. What succeeded this? My friend then said with a loud voice thus, here stands a candidate for Masonry, who fain would know our art and mystery. Shew him the light, and there's a little asterisk there, I'll read it just so you know, by which we work, and then perhaps he'll learn the art like any other man, like other men, sorry. Upon this the door flew open and discovered a room extremely light, out of which came 3 men. Now normally these 3 men are dressed, you know, in a particular way, okay, with drawn swords, one of whom said, deliver your friend to us. Upon this my friend delivered me to their care, and I was ushered into the lodge, one walking before and one on each side of my friend in the rear. Thus was I brought into the darkness into light. Thus I was brought out of darkness into the light, sorry. What did they do after this? They informed the master that they were ready to execute his orders. What did he order? What did he order? Oh dear, like I said, I'm not a professional, sorry. What did he order? He ordered them to strip me naked. Did they strip you naked? Yes. What was the reason for they stripped you? In order that all the lodge might be well assured they were not imposed on by a woman. Now remember, girls, this bit is nothing to do with me. This is to do with Freemason. This is Freemason and what they say, alright? Nothing to do with me, alright? Now remember, girls, I'm 50p a kiss, £1 a dance. If I like your kiss, you get your money back, and then I'll give you £1 for 2 more goes. How about that? Hey, right, anyway. Oh, quick. Yeah, there we go, yeah. Right, sure they were not imposed on by a woman. Now remember, this has nothing to do with me, ladies, alright? This is what Freemasons are saying, okay? What reason have they for not admitting women into Masonry? Because it is well known that women in general cannot keep their own secrets, much less those they are entrusted with. What proof have you of this? We have many proofs of this, both in sacred and profane history. See, now just by that sentence there, look, we have proofs both in sacred, right, their sacred history, okay, and then the profane history. You see what I mean? How they segregate themselves from us. We're profane. We've got our own profane history, yeah? Do you know what I mean? Separate from them. So they have their own history, separate from us, the profane, you see? And that's what you've got to look for. They are totally alien and above us, yeah? They're totally separate within life. They look at us as the hated profane. We're without the temple, they're within the temple, yeah? They're special, they're spiritual, we're nothing to them, okay? And if the quicker you learn that, the easier it will be to oust these people out of power. Anyway, see, and it's there in that statement that I'll say that again. Women in general cannot keep their own secret, much less those that they are entrusted with. What proof have you of this? We have many proofs of this, both in sacred and profane history. But as one may serve the story of Samson and Delilah. Now, this is, I've shown you my ritual masks. If not, go look in the forum, and they have these ritual masks on, like Samson and Delilah. Do you know what I mean? And they ritualise the actual, you know, how Samson and Delilah, and how, you know, Delilah betrayed Samson. Do you know what I mean? They actually do this in a ritual, yeah? But I ain't going to go into that, but that's part of it anyway. Of Samson and Delilah will be sufficient. This man had no sooner revealed the secrets wherein his great strength lay, because obviously his strength was in his hair, and when it was cut, he was weak, to his dearly beloved mistress, which is Delilah, then she discovered it and betrayed him to the Philistines. That is, take him into your care and give him all due instructions. Yeah, so up above with the asterisk, that's what that piece says there. Yeah, because they take him into the care and then give him the due instructions, and that's the instructions of what to do within the lodge. Yeah, and obviously the passwords, blah blah blah. Right. So basically, his mistress learned the secrets of masonry, and then she betrayed him. Yeah, so this is why they say you can't trust women. Yeah, they can't even hold their own counsel basically. Anyway, Judges XVI, Palestine's Judges XVI, for which reason women are thought not proper to be trusted with the secrets of masonry, and Samson was never after that numbered among the Freemasons. Again, there's a little asterisk. I'll read it when I get to it, but there's a little asterisk there. Okay, right. So he's never a Freemason again. Question: suppose a brother should prove so weak as to betray the secrets to his wife or anybody else, what is his punishment? If it should ever be known, he would be immediately expelled the lodge to which he had belonged, and never admitted to any other lodge whatsoever. And then what they do, they make him a perjured individual. Yeah, and they'll get his money. He won't get a job, he won't get nothing, he'll get nowhere. Like I said, when you're a perjured individual, because they own all the businesses and this, that and the other, they can make your life hell. Do you know what I mean? But that's another story, we'll get into that later. Question: if a woman should rashly swear that she would never cohabit with her husband, obviously sleep with him, unless he told her the secrets, would that excuse him? No, by no means, because he may as easily persuade her that there is nothing more in it than a set of friends well met and assembled to be merry, or tell her any tale that is plausible. So basically you can lie to your wife about anything, like when we're sleeping with prostitutes in our hotels, in our meetings, when we go away for long periods of time. You know what I mean? We can tell our wives anything. Anyway, and if you're not sure what they do to their wives, go to my forum and type in Masonic wives, and you'll see what they do to their wives and girlfriends, what Freemasons do. Anyway, proceed now to tell me what they did with you after you were stripped. The master clothed me with a badge of innocence. That is not an apron, that is like a white sash. Yeah, I've got one here actually, that's a female one. Anyway, I'll get into that, I'll show you that in one of my other videos. Anyway, what did he do after that? He took me by the right hand and placed me in the centre of the brethren. He then ordered me to kneel down on both my knees and held the point of the sword which he had in his hand to my throat. And then he addressed me as follows: Sir, you are now going to be admitted a member of the ancient and honourable fraternity, and it is expected that you will lay yourself under the following obligation. You shall not reveal to any person or persons, either by word or mouth, or by your own handwriting, or cause to be revealed in any manner whatsoever, any part or parts, point or points, or any traditions which have been, are now, or shall forever be held as a secret among Freemasons, unless to an honest man. There's two little asterisks there, and I've got to get to them. Unless to an honest man. But there ain't no honest men in Freemasonry, right? The word free was added because they taught their art to the freeborn only, and the freeborn obviously is the hierarchy. And again, get into the freeborn, you'll know what I'm on about. The other asterisk is this is a loose white garment, generally made of holland or some other fine linen, and sometimes of silk. It shews that when a man is made a Mason, he is believed to be a man of good morals and unusually character, or else he cannot be made a Mason. If a Mason proves otherwise, no Mason dare further instruct him on pain of being expelled from all lodges. Okay, like I said, remember, this is ain't just that they get made up. Like when they get expelled from the lodge, yeah, they're made perjured individuals. Do you know what I mean? Depending on how bad the crime is, obviously, yeah. And like I said, when you're expelled from the lodge, that means you're not getting your paycheck no more, which they, is a good paycheck because you're working for the Freemasons as a corporation. They've got big money. You're not eating so well, You know what I mean? Because they have all these, like I said, they're eating at these tables. You know what I mean? And they got, you know, and they're eating very well. You know, steaks, salmon, whatever you want. You know what I mean? All of that privilege of life is gone. You know. Anyway, man whom you know is a Mason or a Master or a Wardens or any regular lodge, so they'll ban them from everywhere. And as it was always esteemed by the Masons of old that to swear by the sword was the most binding of all obligations, so we do insist and require you solemnly to kiss the edge of the sword presented to your throat as a signification of your full consent and approbation of the above particulars. And there's a little asterisk there, and I'll read that when I get down to it. Your well performing this will make you ever esteemed by this venerable body, as the contrary will render you guilty of a breach and the most sacred band of human society, and consequently degrade you from the character of a man of honour, which every Mason ought to preserve more carefully than his life. Do you see what I mean? And that's what it's about, you see. But if they do, like I said, if they degrade you from the character of a man, they really, and I mean they make you a perjured individual, and they assassinate your character. They do everything in their power to make your life hell, you know. Anyway, question: what was the first thing the Master did with you after this? He ordered the Wardens who stood on each side of me to raise me on my feet and take off the white robe. What did he order after that? He ordered all the brethren to assist in putting on my clothes again, which they accordingly did. The Master then informed me that as all the lodgers had assisted in clothing me when naked, so I should at all times, without prejudice to myself or family, relieve the distress, but especially brethren, their wives and their children. See, so this is what they live for, the relieving the distress of themselves or the wives or their children. Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's all about helping their wives, their children and their own self. Yeah, when there's, like, you know, they need money, food, clothes or whatever. Not that they need it, because they've got all the money anyway. Yeah, and that's why that, you know, they got a council house, they'll get one, their family will get one like that. Everyone else will struggle putting on lists, and you'll wait forever, where all their people are preferred. You know, they'll jump the list. Their people will jump the list and they'll get the best houses. I know that because I've got it and I've seen it and I've researched it here myself in my own town. Anyway, that's another story. Wives and their children. What did the Master do with you after this? He presented me with a white leather apron to wear while at work, and told me that I was now become a fellow and brother to king and princesses. Yeah, so he's a brother to king and princesses. This is what I'm on about. Look, how do you prove that? Because the greatest monarchs in all the ages, for the sake of knowing our mystery, have freely consented to be made Masons, by which they were levelled with the poorest Masons on earth. Now, this is interesting, right? And this is what I'm on about. This is where they control them. You know, they'll say to the monarchs, you know, when they fight their wars or whoever they're trying to take over, they'll say, right, you become a Mason, you work for us, we'll leave you in control, which comes back from, who's the one they killed and poisoned and betrayed him? He wore great, he was a, I can't think of his friggin' name. Alexander the Great, okay? Like Alexander the Great, he was a Freemason and he got betrayed, do you know what I mean? But that's another story. But that's why he left people in control of the lands that he conquered. And that's what Freemasons do. They did the same, you see. And that's what it's all about. But anyway, so they leave their people in power and don't oust them out. But if you mess with them, they'll oust you out, which they did to the Russian royal family, wasn't it? Or whoever, I can't remember. But, you know, this is why royal families, you know, on the pretense of there's a civil war or whatever, this is why it happens, you see what I mean? Anyway, here we go. Masons always swear by the sword because they were always dutiful subjects, conforming cheerfully to the government under which they lived. Okay, see that? The government under which they lived, and they were ever ready, as they are now, to defend it when necessary required it, sword in hand. Right, now if you've been listening to me and all my videos, there it is again in black and white. Okay, yeah, cheerfully to the government under which they lived, and were ever ready, as they are now, to defend it when necessary or required it, sword in hand. And these are going to be the first people, sword in hand or gun in hand, that will protect everything you're protesting for now. Because once you start to take the power away from these people, they ain't going to be so charitable. Do you know what I mean? They're going to, I mean, look, you think about it. What's his name in Chicago? Al Capone, yeah? He was charitable. He had soup kitchens. Look it up. Do you know what I mean? He was a hero. You know what I mean? Even though he did all that death and destruction and everything he did, yeah, he was a hero because he had soup kitchens that he fed the profane. Do you see what I mean? That's how crazy people are. You know, you can rob, steal, deal your drugs, do whatever you want. Yeah, murders, shootings, kill innocent people. But so long as you've got a charity soup kitchen, you're well all right. Do you know what I mean? But again, like I said, he's got all the police under him and everything else. How do you expect them to get caught? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, but this is what it is. They're going to they're going to pick up their guns and they control, and they're going to defend it. See, this is what they do. They defend their lodges. They defend their power. You see, and when someone gets, like I said, it gets too close, I'll be one of the first to like. They're already talking about killing me off. Do you know what I mean? Let alone anything else. You know, but that's how it is, isn't it? Anyway, though all Masons are upon the same level in the lodge, they are to pay a due deference to their superiors, you know, and I'll give you their ranks. And from inferiors, they are rather to receive honour with some reluctance than to extort it. Okay? So, again, like I said, they're all on the same level, but they pay. Obviously, they salute their superiors. Do you know what I mean? And they, you know, again, it's one of their little con things. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're the same as us, blah blah. Everyone's the same, but you ain't. You know what I mean? You will salute your worshipful masters, but they do say, right? What was it? They say like a rich criminal man is less likely to become a Mason than a poor man. If that's right, I've said so, I don't know if I said that right, but this is what they say. They say a poor man with nothing will become a Mason quicker than a rich man that's a criminal. But that's a load of crap. The criminal will always get to be in the Masons, and the poor man will never get to be a Mason ever. You know what I mean? So that's a load of crap. Anyway, let's go on. Moving on. Down. Right, what do you call yourself? A miner, which is basically an apprentice, okay? What is the chief care and business of a miner? A miner chief care and business is to sharpen the tools, clear the shop from rubbish, and sometimes to carry the hod, etc. He is likewise to attend the senior brethren to take care that none enter but Masons, and to keep a watchful guard all around the lodge. Okay, see what I mean? These are the sentries that watch the lodge when the big boys upstairs, like in our main lodge that I attend in Great Yarmouth at Kent Square, not Kent Square, anyway, forget that. When they're having their meeting upstairs, there's loads of sentries that are, you know, patrolling the lodge and watching, yeah, while they have their meeting. But the entered apprentices are the bouncers, do you know what I mean? The bouncers, the guards, whatever you want to call them. You go near it, they'll set upon you like that without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? You try getting near them, you know, their meetings, what they have upstairs in the lodge. Cool, you won't get near them. Ooh, no way. Anyway, can you give me a sign? No, because signs, tokens and words we are not entrusted with while we are in this degree. Why so? Because this is the only a degree of probation, like a probationary period, which all must pass through who are made Masons. It being necessary, the lodge should have some trial of their behaviour before they are admitted into the next degree. What proof of their behaviour is necessary? To make sure they're corrupt and they're corruptible. If not, you ain't getting into Masonry. Anyway, the proof they desire is this: the miner, or the entered apprentice, is enjoined to secrecy. So if you can't keep a secret, shh, you're out. But they're watching for that before they even ask someone to be a Mason. They're looking for that already anyway. Yeah, before he can be made a major free, before he can receive the major's word, he oft must guard the lodge with a flaming sword. He must be silent, sober, and discreet, and to his brethren all affectionate. Then may he to great Babel's tower repair, and on him take a major character. Are you desirous of knowing the major's secrets? Yes. Your good behaviour alone will not obtain them. No, you've got to earn them, and this is where the badges come in. You see, your good behaviour alone will not obtain them. You've got to be more corrupt, and the more corrupt you are, the more badges you get, and the more power you get. Anyway, that's another story. By that alone, they could not be attained. But I, by that, a golden signet gained, which will admit me into that degree, that I may work among the majors free. What is that signet? A ring. Produce it. Behold it here. Here he shows a ring, yeah? So they get a ring, and that's the first part of their jewellery, you know, that they're Freemasons, you know, bum bum, blah blah blah. So it's the first bit of gold, you know, and, you know, if you want more, then you're going to need it, you know what I mean? Explain. Attend, my brethren, all that round me stand, yeah, while I obey great Belus' dreaded command, yeah, Belus, Bel, right, Bel, Baal, obey the great Baal, dread command, yeah. Our brother here, upon examination, desires I'll place him in a higher station. A minor character has well maintained and answered all things well by which he's gained, yeah. So like I said, he's learning things as he does, and these minor characters they play are like in their little plays, you know, where they do all these certain steps and certain plays, you know, like Samson, Delilah and all that sort of stuff. But they all play a character, you know what I mean, within the lodge, and you've got to do that, yeah. And like I said, anyway, the signet ring, let's go back to that. The signet rare which Belus did ordain, yeah, Baal, yeah, for such as he could the minor art attain, that they may to the tower repair and be received to work among the majors free. 'Tis then my will and pleasure that he may begin to work and enter into pay. Like I said, they're well paid. Freemasons are paid, okay? You know what I mean? They're apprentices. They might not get a lot of a start, but as they work up, fellow craft, master mason, blah, 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 they start getting more wages, more pay, more gold, more houses, more land put on them, you know what I mean? And they're paid for their protection, and they're paid for keeping your mouth shut, do you see what I mean? And they earn well, and they are paid for that. They're not doing it for nothing, do you know what I mean? Don't believe it. They're not doing that for nothing, none of it. End of the part of the first, yeah? NB. A minor is always thus examined before his admission into the major's degree, which examination, if he cannot learn, he must give every member of the lodge a pair of gloves for himself and a pair for his wife, which will entitle him to the ring before mentioned, which he must have it being a warrant for his admission, but he must not commit any part of this to writing, because it may be exposed by negligence or accidents. Witness this book, yeah? I don't know what the witness this book mean, but again, like I said, the ring is his first, like, his little present, and that gets him into the lodge, do you know what I mean? And he's got to learn everything word for word, because it's all learned by word of mouth, you know, and he's tested over and over again. This is why you go to lodge meetings, do you see? And he's tested all the time, just in that lower degree type thing, to ready to come. Oh Christ, I don't know what happened there. Just to be upgraded into the fellow craft. You know what I mean? And then here we go. Entered the Masons. The Freemasons examined part 2, called the major's degree. Right now, before I go into this, like I said at the beginning, if you want me to read the rest of this, okay, put it in the comments and then I'll read it. If not, go to my forum and it'll be in the forum, as I said at the beginning of this reading, and I'll copy it, I'll read the rest out. I hope you enjoyed this. It's not been fun because my throat isn't very good. But anyway, how came you by the signet? By my good behaviour, and also after the true and just examination. But again, if you want me to go a bit more over this in part 2, I will do. And again, look, you've got to know all this. Look, 3 miles, the paces, how high the tower is, and all this. And now you have to learn all these questions. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't learn them, you ain't getting into the second part. And like I said, back in the day, it used to take 3 to 4 years for an entered apprentice to get up, into a fellow craft, And like I said, the fellow craft, teaches the entered apprentices. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got the master masons that then, that teach the fellow crafts, and then, boom, boom, and away it go. And they just do that every year, teaching the same thing, you know what I mean, over and over again, But there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening again. Have a great day.